You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
This makes my nipples hard.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Last time, like literally the last episode over there, we talked about a game series called The Broken Sword, which just to jump in for a minute in my own intro, but nobody is really talking about this game very much. I would have thought it would have been more popular. But anyways, we're going to continue the adventure with Broken Sword 2. I played the phone version and Paul played the original. And go.
Hi there, hello. You have a good point, though. I feel like I know Broken Sword is a really popular game. I know it as... Sorry, that's not what I mean at all. It's going to be a lot of that this episode, just saying the wrong things. It's a lot of people's favorite game, or it's a really revered game that a lot of people hold up in the echelons of Monkey Island and such, but it's not a very commonly talked about game. Is that...
Yeah, I was looking for the videos, the ones that were like, let's dissect the Broken Sword and have a big 5-hour-long conversation about it, which I tried doing for the first Broken Sword game, and I was shocked to find out that outside of playthroughs, there's really nobody picking apart every aspect of this game from beginning to end, which I'm used to finding for most of the Sierra games, most of the LucasArts games, and so many other random games on the internet. And then finding out that there's like 20 different versions of these games, I was even more surprised. So what am I missing, Paul?
Oh, I don't know. Jeez. Man, you really set that up. Like, we talked about this.
Is that a planned bit? No, absolutely not. Now Paul's scared.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I agree. I saw the same thing you saw. Weird. I saw that there's not even any really good reviews for Broken Sword. It's all the reviews out there are people comparing the reforged or the director's cut to the original. There's almost nobody just walking through the game, as we did, at least audibly, on our last episode.
I have an idea. Mm-hmm. What if all of the information out there for all of the new remakes pushed down the information to past the first page of Google? Because nobody ever goes there. Did you look there?
Of course not, but I'm not some sort of animal. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Exactly.
Because I think it got convoluted and that's just it. And that's the same with this one. I don't need to go over them all, but these games have been remade a lot. People really love the first 2 games in this series a lot.
Well, that's another thing. I think that the Broken Sword series, to a degree, transcends the adventure genre a little bit. And what I mean by that is in the same way that later Sam and Max games did. Like, there's certain games that have, like, this escape velocity where they've kind of escaped the confines of the niche part of adventure games, and they made it out just a little bit onto, like, the broader world stage. And they're not looked at as, like... Yeah, I don't know. It's the best way I could put it. They've escaped the confines of our niche little genre and became somewhat known by...
Unlike us.
Right, yeah. Right, the opposite of, like, the spirit of this podcast, for sure. And I think it did that by reaching, Wii and Nintendo DS, and, I think that's how it ended up reaching other people. And then within our own genre, I don't know. When I think Broken Sword, I always think of our friend Joshua Cleveland from Hotspot Network. Like, I think this is his favorite game. If not, for some reason, I've pinned it to him and I just associate it with him. But I think there's a few people out there that really, really love Broken Sword. But there's just there's not, like, ultimately there's not a lot of evidence for it.
Well, Charles Cecil is fascinating. I found an interview with him at BFI, and he was saying that because the player has to care actively enough to continue, you need more motivation much earlier than films would for the character to want to be involved. So in a film, you can carry the intro for a while, and they don't have to feel so personally invested as an audience. But here it's like, okay, in the Broken Sword, the first one, it's like you've got a bomb, a mystery, all the people, a conspiracy right away because he wants to catch you in. And he ended up winning industry legend awards like way early just for his industry service and stuff. So I think a lot of it is that's what he wanted. Charles Cecil, from the few interviews I could find, really, really wanted it to be less wacky puzzles and more cinematic mystery gameplay, but together. Like, he wanted the TV and the game to hold hands and not battle with each other. And I think in the first game especially, we really found that to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about that one.
Well, okay. To be fair, I should say this. I really, really like the first game a whole lot. Like, I rank it up there as definitely one of the better adventure games, classic adventure games, probably ever. I could see that immediately. And so that's just preemptive padding and buying some good faith to then say that I just I didn't like the second game very much, and I feel like everyone should know that now before we get into it.
Leave now or forever.
Yeah,
or do you want to hear Paul argue with you and you can't yell back? You'll be yelling at it. You don't want that.
Yeah, I think the I think that the writing in the second game is still really, really good, and there's a lot of good things about the game, and I will do my absolute best to keep it polished. But I also think, to be fair to a lot of our listeners, we're like a pretty positive show. We don't really like shitting on things. We don't do a lot of the worst of this, and like it's not common that we even go forward talking about a thing if we both deduce that we didn't like it very much, because it's just not our vibe or whatever. But we put a whole lot of time into this game, and it's got to be the episode today, and I can't help that I just didn't like a lot of things about it. And so if you just adore the shit out of this game and you don't want to hear it from me, fair enough. We'll see you next week.
I'm not as negative probably, though. You could wait and say, but what about Anna? Will Anna bring it back? And she'll probably be about as ambiguous as always, so enjoy.
Yeah, Anna's going to try to Canadianly hide that she didn't like it, but I don't think she liked it very much. Who knows? We'll find out together.
Okay. I'm going to tell you that The Broken Sword 2 pretty much literally is just a game that picks up where the first one got off. George and Nico, they're like, another conspiracy, a shocker. But this time we get to learn a little bit more about the Mayan? I think it's Mayan, the Mayan side of things. So there's ancient prophecies and kidnappings, and a kidnapping that happens pretty much right away after you're watching the intro of the game. And it's Nico, by the way. And then they kind of end up, as usual, chasing clues all over the world into a game that I found to be mostly conversationally puzzle-based. There was a lot of this to this and this to this, but a huge amount of it was talking to people and then going back and talking to people again in different places, which was kind of fun.
That was the game at its best. Totally agree. Yeah, when the game was doing that, it was at its best, and I really enjoyed it because the writing is so good. It really is. Like the dialogue writing is sharp and clever and fun and fresh, and it does a good job of, each line seems to do something important. It's like moving the plot forward or revealing new information. And then when it's not, it's like a little bit funny, which I think is the pocket. It's like the total sweet spot. So yeah, as Anna said, so basically we start where Broken Sword 1 left off, except for it's been 6 months. And what they did a really good job of writing wise here is, the first note I have is, wait, are we still a couple? Is Nico and George still a couple? So they worried me. I'm like, wait a minute, because the first game ends where they're a couple, and like, I don't know, I get kind of annoyed with IPs that like, well, Gabriel Knight's a good example, where they just don't let it happen and they keep you like wondering for too long, and I don't know, it's the part of me that likes happy endings, right? We're just like, I just want to see them together. But this game actually handles that tension purposefully and quite well, and I like that. But it has been 6 months. We'll learn as the story goes on a little bit that George had to go back to America because his dad was dying, and I don't want to be too, rigidly structured as I tried to do with the first Broken Sword. So let me just ask you, Anna, I got the sense at the end of the game, all in all, that the issue between George and Nico was actually Nico's fault.
Well, she was being ambiguous. She wouldn't make a choice. I felt that she was teasing him with the other boy and saying things that they had been doing together, and really, to be fair, wasn't giving George what she gave him. Like, she wasn't showing the love And he was kind of a little more eager, but he was being polite and respectful and kind of being like, okay, like, it's on your terms. Do you want to be with me or do you want to be with him? And I respect your decision, as much of a trickster as he is. Although he obviously has an obsession with her underwear. So.
Well, okay, here's what I thought. The game didn't give you it didn't give us a ton of information on what's going on there with the two of them. In a good way, because now it's fun to talk about sort of thing. But I get the impression overall that George had to go back to America because his dad was dying, and when he was gone, she started fucking around with lobster stew, or Labernu, or whatever.
That's exactly what happened. On the very, very, yes, that's it. She just did what she did and kind of was not sympathetic that I saw at any time, actually.
Yeah.
Even when they were out and about, he's like, Nico, come on. Like, she kept wandering off. He's like, okay, let's get the story going. It's not until you actually start controlling her later on that you can see what's going on. And even then, her behaviors were a bit silly.
I have a note here that ends on this whole subject that ends in parentheses that says, "Don't say this." I think I accidentally kind of went at the French a little bit for Nico's loyalty. It's like, probably just don't say that note. It's not I'm not attributing to the masses that of the individual.
George didn't do anything with anybody else. He had integrity, and all he was doing was helping out family, and all he's trying to do is work with her. I haven't seen him be anything other than himself, so I felt disappointed that this didn't end in really much. Actually, well, I won't complain about it now, but too much. But the ending just was a bit abrupt on me, I felt.
All right, well, let's Tarantino this all the way back to the beginning. So we start out in Professor Ubier's house, and he's a name that'll come up a few times. And basically, Nico brings...
It's a trap.
Right, yes, exactly. It's a trap. Look, they don't give you a whole lot of info here. You're basically just at this dude's house. Nico's grabbed your hand and rushed you there. And before you know it, you're tied to a chair. The room's on fire. Nico's gone. And there's a big old...
And there's a poisonous spider.
Right, there's a big old fuck that looking spider coming your way that you have to deal with. So you deal with the spider. You get yourself off the chair with some very simple, easing you into the game puzzle mechanics, which I really like. Just very simple. You see a hook on the wall and it works. And like you're getting a few wins logged in. Really good. Now you're free.
Would have had more tension if the fire moved, though. There's this fire, so you can't get out, and it just sits there burning as long as you like.
It could have been bigger too. I felt like there's a puzzle in this whole segment where you have to deal with the fire because it's blocking the door. It does look like you could kind of step over it. I mean, maybe not step over it, but it it had this vibe of like, if I just rushed really quickly, I'd probably be fine. Anyway. You untie yourself, and you're like, I need to find Nico and put this fire out, but first I'm going to rob the shit out of this house. I'm going to just take everything that I'll probably need for the whole game right now. And so that's what you do.
You take absolutely everything.
You rob all the things.
And you also go through the phone stuff and go all through the house.
You take a shot of tequila at the beginning of an adventure. That's risky.
And then you steal the worm so that you can... These are the items, right? You have like a bullet end, like a missile end eventually. No, it's a stove cap top. That's what it was. And you have a lipstick. And you have a worm. And you have underwear, Nico's underwear. Yeah. And you can ask about them. And I don't know, I'm going to skip forward briefly, but did you ever get an achievement for asking anybody in the game about any of those items?
Well, I played the original, so I didn't have any achievements. But
achievements.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could clarify,
too. There's an achievement for some of them.
Anna played the Reforged version, and I played the original. But no, so I didn't get in there. Basically, you get Nico's purse, and he's like, well, given the circumstances, I kind of have to go through the purse here. And so he does, and he finds a pair of pretty kinky panties. Looks like a thong, pink, with a black leather heart on them. And my note for that was, found the panties, and then George says her taste changed while I was away. So I just wrote, what is going on? Like, I'm very concerned about their relationship at this point in the game. And now I'm like, I find her purse, and she's got like kinky panties in it, and I'm upset with George, along with George.
Me too.
Yeah.
I didn't approve of any of that. Because they left it, so why did they leave the ambiguities to leave you at the end of the game the way they did? Sorry. I won't say it again. Sheesh.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of this burning house so we can get to the ending of the game, which is what Anna wants to talk about.
Clearly, hurry up. Is this over yet? Oh my God. This episode's taking forever.
Some quick notes I have before we leave the house is that George won't touch a box in this house because a spider was once in it. And I love that. I relate to that, and I get it. He's like, a spider was once in this. I'm not touching it now. Like, yep, that's good. That checks out.
Aw. I know, it was funny. Who was it? I was at Renee's. We were doing a garage sale at my friend's house, and she's like, there's a book on the table. Anna, I need you to move it because I won't touch it, and I know you'll touch anything. And I'm like, you're right.
First of all, you're right. Second of all, stop telling everybody that.
Oh, man. So, yeah, it's after you escape, though, and you do your thing, you end up at that cafe that you always end up at, which is funny because the same guy that was at the cafe before, he's like a military guy at the table. He's just sitting there. And
Oh, hold on. Before we go into this part, I have a few more notes before we left it. Because I always do this. I have a disproportionate amount of notes on the very beginning because I think I'm going to be a good little note taker the whole time. But really, 40% of all my notes are in like the first act. Okay, let me just get through these real quick. So I wasn't thinking the dart could pick a lock. I'm not sure if that's smart and clever or bullshit. What do you think? You have to open the roll top desk, I think, with a dart, and you use like the pointy end of the dart to pick a lock. Was that bullshit or is that clever? I really don't know.
I think that if you are already good with picking locks and it's a simple enough lock, I've unlocked doors on my car with coat hangers before. I think any tool in a pinch, but you have to understand what you're doing, where the clip is and what you need to do with it for it to work, and it has to be long enough. So it is so specific to each lock.
So, but like for adventure game logic, like were you pissed about this solution or were you like, okay, yeah?
No, I thought it made sense, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Think about Quest for Glory. I don't know, like, it made sense to me.
All right, fair enough. I really couldn't tell. I was like, this is either clever or bullshit. I don't know. I didn't figure it out. Okay, now the next note is using the pennies to pick up a hot item. That was clever. I really like these type of puzzle solutions because it's
Me
like,
too.
right, it's like that in real life sort of scenario where it's like it's improvised and it's like, what do I have on me? I can't touch the hot thing. I need some sort of cloth or towel, and then it actually works. And you're like, oh, that's what should have happened and what I probably would have done. So good game designing. Nice extinguisher animation. Oh, right. Just a quick little product of its time. George says the line, an automatic telling machine at some point in this day, which was adorable. Remember Mac machines? Did you guys have those in Canada? They were blue with like a rainbowy logo. They were like the very early ATMs. Yeah.
Oh, no, never heard of it.
Huh. All right. Maybe somebody out there did. Let me know. Mac machines were a thing, right? Unless, who knows? Maybe it's one of those things like it was just existed in my tiny little area, and I don't know. But whatever. Okay. Anyway, this is a weird thing that Broken Sword does all the time. Is they put tiny weird keys in weird places. There's so many keys in all the games. It's out of control. I don't know why the key to the house would be in a vase in a drawer, but. Is my note, alas. So the key to the house is found in a vase in a drawer. And that's, I don't like
people
that.
think they're being clever. It makes sense to me, because if I lived somewhere, I'd just be like, I'll put the key in here, nobody will find it. People do that all the time.
Why would you hide your own house key? It's your house key. It's not like a key to a safe.
Because you'd want a second emergency key, and I bet they have another one in a rock outside, because they're just worried.
In a vase, in a drawer.
No one will ever look there.
But we're not trying to hide it. It's our house key. It's not. You know what I mean? That's my problem with it. It's not like a key to a safe.
But they probably have. That's their extra house key.
I mean,
that's why it's in there, because they wouldn't normally use it. But in case there's an emergency, they wouldn't want a criminal to find an extra house key to their house.
The criminal's already in the house. They're in the house if they found the key in the vase, right? Thank you, because that actually makes my point here. It's like. If someone was to finally find this key in a vase in a drawer, they'd already be in the house. What are you doing? All right. Look, I'll leave it. But you know what? That is a precursor for the bullshit that lies ahead. And let me just say, in in case anybody who worked on this game is listening. It's a beautifully written game. It's a beautifully drawn game. A lot of movie critics do this. They shit all over movies, and then they fail to mention how beautiful the set pieces were, and like, you know what I mean. All the other aspects. They'll get mad that it was like to this or to that, and hyper lock in on that. And it's like, yeah, but what about like the beauty of the set designs and the work that the artist did on it? And like, so just to get that out of the way, the drawings, like everything about this game is really, really great. It's just the puzzles I have issue with. And I forgive them for that because, listen to me, all high and mighty, like in a position to be forgiving them. I hate me when I say stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say here is that they built this game in a year. And the puzzles become increasingly obvious that they were done in a year. And it actually helped me appreciate the first game even more, because there's this difference in certain puzzles where you can tell they were thought out for a very long time. And there's this like mastery of like sitting on an idea and letting it come to fruition slowly and naturally throughout the development, as opposed to like, we need a puzzle for this room, boys. What's it going to be? And then they just throw some shit together. Like, you know, where's the housekeep? Put it in a vase, in a drawer, you know, in a roll top that you have to, and then, you know, when you pick it apart, it doesn't withstand, it doesn't hold up very well. And it's like, yeah, well, it's kind of no wonder they had to just do this. And anyway, there's a lot of that in this game. So, okay, I hope I'm done with fucking notes for this part of the game. I am. Okay, so finally, that was hard on everyone. I'm sorry. Now we're back to where Anna said we were, which is back in France at the cafe. For those who played
Montefaucon.
For those who played the first or maybe even the second, this is where the juggling clown was. We're back there and we're talking to the cop who was on duty in the first game and now is a patron of the cafe in the second game.
And sad and an alcoholic and depressed and almost feeling like he doesn't even want to be around anymore. He was really not in a good way. And I guess George feels over the course of this scene, as he argues with a rude waiter and goes through all of his stuff waiting for the like, because did we mention he's waiting for that guy to show up?
Right, no, he's meeting the lobster stew guy because
Yeah, he's meeting him. But anyways, and so that's kind of sad, but it is also kind of funny because in the end, George needs to steal something from the ex-gendarme, the cop guy, and so he steals the only thing that the man has left, which is his alcohol.
His
which I
absinthe.
Thought was kind of ironic.
He's sitting there getting fucked up on absinthe, yeah. And it's another thing.
Real, but
go ahead, sorry.
What? I'm just saying he's so sad and you did nothing for him but steal his alcohol. You didn't make him feel better. All you did is make him feel worse with every question you asked.
Right, you stirred it all up and then took away his coping device.
That's so sad.
Broken Sword, I love how genuine you sounded when you said that. That was a plea. Broken Sword's doing a thing it likes to do, which is having you steal something just right in front of the person who's definitely looking while you do it. It's a little weird. They did it in the first game with the wire.
He doesn't even notice.
Yeah.
Just looks sadly down and goes as if like you took away a toy. He's just like, oh, and he deflates, and then that's it. You can't even talk to him anymore.
Man, well, then the lobster guy shows up, and he's playing the same roles he played in the first game, mechanically speaking, or story plot wise, which is you show lobster stuff that you found, and it unlocks a new location. It's almost like, you know, what would you say, the skeleton, the blueprint of how these games seem to work. And I think it's brilliant, actually, from a design point of view. It keeps it really clean, and even as a player point of view, you kind of know what you catch on what to do even subconsciously. It's like you get a new thing, you're probably going to have to show the guy, that's probably going to unlock the next place to go. And it also reminds you that, hey, you're in the Broken Sword world. Remember Lobster Guy? Remember the police guy? And it feels good because one of my notes was, I liked meeting Andre, seeing him and the cop from the first game. Oh, it ends there abruptly. But my point was, you know, it was nice. It's world building. It felt like, okay, I'm back in Broken Sword now. I know these people. So that was nice. And then, you know, from talking to Lobster New, I gathered that the relationship is becoming clearer, past me said. Seems we had to go home to see our dying father, and Nico reverted back to her old friends, which now sounds cold of her. It's good writing. They made me worried they weren't together, and now are drip feeding me clues as to where they are. Yes. So I like
Yeah,
that.
that's
You're
true.
invested. You're like, what's going on? I want to know, and I want to see. We got to find Nico because she's still gone, missing, or whatever. And anyway, it's great back and forth between you and Lobster because there's a rivalry there. Like, you know, you're both basically fighting for her. He sent. Oh, by the way, we didn't tell the listeners this. Lobster's the guy who sent Nico the panties. So
Yeah, that's right.
So like, you know,
He is the one. They
fully
were
threatening.
obviously doing it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, or at least he
And
was
you can
trying.
see that there's that attitude of like Lobster being a bully a little bit, and George just having to take it. And it made me think back to when they were kids, and I wondered if George was the type of kid that did get bullied, and that's why he feels he needs to jump into the middle of all the problems now, because he went to the gym, he worked out, but even then, even now, bullies like Lobster are still doing it to him, even with his muscles, even with all of his mystery and intrigue.
Nice. I like that. That's a good take on it. I hadn't thought of that. Well, Lobster tells us about this pot that we found. Look, a lot of Mayan stuff's going to be going on in the background that Anna and I are not going to be very articulate on. So,
No.
because, you
It's
know,
a bunch of
just,
lore.
Yeah, it's just a
Really
bunch of little,
lore-ish.
it's a bunch of clues that you put together, right? Like, essentially. And it's like some of them are fucking pots and little stones and just some, you know, you're run-of-the-mill Mayan stuff. A lot of clay-based items. Obsidian, whatever. Anyway, Lobster sends you off to this gallery. You go to the gallery. I don't have much to say about the gallery
There's a
unless
little
you do.
bit with Nico, though. You get this little cut scene, right? They're all like,
Okay.
"What have you done with my stone?" And Nico's all tied to a chair.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing you can do to rescue her because she's gone. And it's like, oh. And then you find out there's like cocaine smuggling and all this other stuff going on. So there's obviously like deeper stuff to it. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to make you talk. And they're being super threatening. And then it cuts back. And George is just like, do at the art gallery. Like everything's perfectly fine.
Right. Thank you for that. I would have totally skipped that. Yeah, so you're at this art gallery. You're trying to get more information that will eventually lead you to going to the docks, looking for a specific shipping company. But real quick, you have to do a quick little puzzle where you spike a critic's wine. And I just want to bring this up because this is actually, this is Broken Sword's doing it again. But at least it's self-aware this time because you spike his wine like right in front of him. He's holding the wine as you spike it. It's so right in front of him. But he actually calls you out on it finally. He's like, did you just put something in my drink? And then you're like, yeah. And then he just drinks it anyway. And it's like, oh, it's actually
You're
better
like, well,
now.
you might as well make it a little more fun, right? Like you're kind of like, come on. So it worked out.
Yeah, it was.
And then he like, you knew somebody was going to have to fall somewhere somehow because there was breakable stuff, but there wasn't as much as I thought there'd be.
Yeah,
breaking
exactly.
stuff.
I got to say, I didn't think the solution to that puzzle was going to be to Cosby that guy's drink. That was not, that wasn't what I was expecting to do, but I did. And then, well, I also didn't expect him to like it, but alas.
He did. And you're this is the Glees Gallery, but you're talking to the main guy, and he's another kind of like arrogant. I mean, well, I guess an owner of a gallery would generally be like this. So even though it's true, I found there was a lot of really arrogant, smug, conceited jerks in this game that George had to be up against.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All the way through, even at the very end, and all the little bits in between. Everybody was just kind of, hoity-toity, I'm better than you. Look at my ponytail. And every guy that did have a ponytail was a snotty guy. So I'm like, is that like a stereotype? If you have a longer face and a ponytail, then you're a jerk?
Actually,
maybe?
dude, I think it was a 90s trope like that, too. Because if you I don't know. It feels familiar beyond examples that I can give. I know that like the bad guy in the bad guy in 12 Monkeys had long hair, and I don't know why that's the first one that came to mind. It's not a great example, but I feel like in the 90s it was like a douchey, a pretentious thing, like a Seattle coffee house, like a you know, an intellectual
I'm going to
thing.
Starbucks.
Yes, it's
Back in the day when Starbucks was the snotty thing to be doing.
right.
Like, oh, what? You need to go to a place for your coffee? You're so weird.
Right. Yeah, like the self-involved intellect archetype from the 90s. I think that's exactly right. Good call. All right, well, now we're at the docks. Look, we're okay. I'm panicking about pacing. We're at the docks. There's a long thing about there's a dog. There's actually a really fun guy to talk to there. I liked him. The the lowly dock guy who eats nothing but beans every day.
I know. He's actually really liked the videography at least on the version I played, the app version, which is it's so hard to say version and not virgin. The one that I'm playing, which is the remastered, reforged, is very pretty as it lowers to the docks, the sky, the water, the ocean, just the look of it all. It was really, really well done at Marseille. I think it really represented well.
Yeah, well, good shout. All of the nighttime scenes were really, really good in this game. They're really interesting. The something about the nighttime art was really interesting. I liked it a lot.
And now you got to be mean to the dog, but they don't make it terrible because you don't kill it. And that's essentially what this is about. You got to like smoke a dude out of his cute little hut, who's a fun guy. Like he lives there. He's got his soup and his dog biscuits and his little recycling area, which you'll have to utilize. Like it gives you all the hints you need to complete the puzzles effectively. There's a window, you can reach a few things. There's a trap door, but he's in there. So there's a way that you got to get him out of there. And it's funny because actually you use smoking out another character twice in this game, which maybe kind of alludes to that bit of laziness you're talking about. Like we've already smoked somebody out of their house. Maybe we shouldn't do that a second time. Especially because it was kind of stupid the second time you smoke somebody out. There's reasons I'll get into later, but it didn't make sense to me.
Right. Yeah, the first game did a callback to that where having to break into a bathroom was a huge pain in the ass, but they made it like a self-aware joke the second time, so it kind of works. Even if they had made it a joke this time, which they didn't, it would have been diminished returns. You would have been like, okay, all right, everybody gets one.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, before we move into the warehouse part of this segment where we're going to...
No, we're not. We got lots to talk about right here where we are.
Yeah, so first one will be, I have no idea why we showed that man our panties, is my notes here.
Everybody. Isn't it creepy? Some of them, you show girls the panties, you show the guy's wife the panties. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, the reactions are less unhinged than you would think. Like, a lot of people aren't as put off by it as you might be expecting. No. But it is really fun. To the game's credit, they nailed this in the first game, too, giving you, like, a bananas... That's... I should use something that's also not a noun. They give you, a wacky inventory item to randomly just show people and burden them with, and it's really fun. My next note says, a dirigible is an air balloon. A rigid dirigible is a zeppelin, which has a metal skeleton, and a non-rigid dirigible is a blimp, which have no frame.
Wow.
Right, I had no idea.
Those all sound sexual. That is fascinating.
Okay, all right. So I didn't know that the difference between a zeppelin and a blimp is a metal skeleton. A blimp has no frame at all. Basically, we told Homeboy he needs to chill on eating all the beans and beer, and we learned this.
Right.
And I had to search it real quick. Well, we don't learn it. They referenced dirigible, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And anyway, that was a quick little rabbit hole. And that's the only notes I have on this whole part.
The only funny thing I think is you get these dog biscuits, and now there's a running joke where George actually eats he starts just telling people when he shows them that they're really good and trying to convince them to eat it. But as the game goes on, George ends up admitting that he likes them, especially the black ones. It becomes like an ongoing thing until you finally use it on somebody later in the game. And I thought that was a pretty funny progression for an inventory item.
Right. Yeah, it plays a similar role to the panties. You mostly show it to just mess with people, but then it has a payoff. They did that in the first game too. I just don't remember which one actually paid off. I think it was the tissue or something. No. But anyway.
Yeah, there was a few of them. Kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, so this dude, you got to get him out. And this guy, he's the bean guy. He's like, a man can live on nothing but beans. That's what my notes say. And I'm like, that's a thing that we grew up with. If you are watching like an old Looney Tunes cartoon and you go in the cabin and there's the old man and he's just a can of beans, right? And there's a closet filled with 100 cans of beans and he knows he has enough food and doesn't have to go anywhere. The biggest crisis is if he didn't have a can opener. Ensuing cartoon.
Yeah, man, I love the way they open cans in the old cartoons.
Yeah,
it was so jagged. Yeah, like a saw wheel by the time it was
dangerous.
Open. Yeah. And then I did Google. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go.
Well, I did Google that real quick. I was just saying, if
you're Popeye, you can just squeeze the middle. Yeah. Oh, did you?
I did. You can just live off of beans, but there's a lot of problems that you'll eventually have.
Yeah. I know, like maybe you'd get scurvy or something.
Right, it's those kinds of issues. Yeah, like you technically can, but it's I mean it's obviously not advised, but because there's not many foods that are like that. I'm sure I'm mistaken, but I feel like maybe potato is another one. I think you can live off of nothing but potatoes. I'm not sure.
Right.
Anyway.
That would be, my grandpa did that when he got older. He didn't want to eat anything but potatoes and cottage cheese, so that's essentially what he ate every day.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand your grandpa in that moment.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just easier.
I don't have any notes on this whole docs thing. I got really locked in on the puzzle, so why don't you see us through to the next part? What do you got for this?
That's fine. I mean, you're doing a few things. You're talking to the window, like to the guard through the window, but then eventually you go underneath. Like, it's tricky. It took me a long time to find it, but you go in behind. Now, the arrows in all of these games on the apps are a bit tricky. Where you leave a room isn't always where you think, and you really have to kind of search around. But you end up with this boat hook when you go underneath, and it gets used for a variety of things. You use it to get like a little bottle out of the water, and the bottle has water in it conveniently because it was just in the ocean. So you've got to cool down the stove first so that you can touch a chimney cone, and then you have to go underneath because you've blocked off the smoke, so the place gets smoked out, and then you crawl underneath where you were seeing him do his recycling thing, but he's still there. You have to do a bunch of stuff from in there. I don't remember what it was. You go in and out, and eventually you smoke the guy out, but you got a dog to contend with. So you think, oh, I've got a dog bone. I'm going to just throw this dog a dog bone. So you throw it over the fence, and the dog's just like, what? Like, thanks, that was a dog bone. No. You have to trick the dog onto a platform underneath the wharf, put the dog bone on it, wait till the dog's happily eating, remove the platform, and you leave it with the dog happily swimming in the water. But at least they even follow it up at the end of the chapter that the dog is still swimming. Like, they do a little nod to the fact that you didn't kill it. So that was nice, because George can be quite the trickster, and nothing can get in his way of solving his mysteries.
Yeah, you're right. They did cover that twice, because when you first do it, like, luckily he can swim, and then later.
Yeah, and then you end up in the warehouse. So, you get past and you go to this warehouse, and it's funny too because you have like inside outside puzzles, but to me, after you'll have notes on it too, but there's these guys inside and you're trying to distract them, so you have to kind of lure them outside, and it's kind of dumb because in the end the way that you get him is you knock him into the water, which you would have given him a concussion because he got hit with a frickin' keg in the back of the head, which he could have turned around and seen coming for 7 full seconds. But no, he stood right in front where there would literally be a big red X on the ground. Like, if you work here, don't stand here. And then he waited like, oh, what's that noise that I hear on my own equipment on my house? Long enough for this barrel to come whack him in the back of the head and entirely take him down, never to be seen again. Well, until later in the story. But still, I thought that was a little cheap. But it was funny, I guess, because you're in and out, and you end up in the warehouse. Did you have anything to say about the outside? Because that's really what it was.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, I thought we killed him too. Yeah. To your point, I was pretty sure we killed him because I even started thinking, like, I wonder how the game's gonna handle that. They're probably just not gonna like show it or mention it, but where it's implied that he's dead. Like, I really thought we killed him, and we didn't. I guess it just took him 45 minutes to get out of the water. That whole thing.
Okay.
That's a good example again of like real quick. We had to make this in a year sort of thing. I feel like that fits that perfectly. Yeah.
You mean like when you search the desk, you find a small key immediately upon entering the warehouse?
So many keys.
And then it's funny. You do this, and then there's this little dude. He's the, like, at the beginning, Nico was shot with a blow dart, and that's what made it so that she ended up passing out so she could be kidnapped. And it turns out it's like this little dude from the jungle.
Titipoco.
And yeah, that was it. And he's got this little blowpipe.
What do you mean that was it? He has titty in his name. How did you not? All right. Okay.
No, I should have. I'm sorry. I failed you.
I mean, I think his name is Mayan for small titties. It's Titipoco.
Aww.
That's not true, by the way. It sounded like you believed me. I just want to be clear.
I believe everything you say. I'm sure you've never been dishonest with any of us, Paul.
Right. No, of course not.
Never.
Also, Poco is
But
Italian
anyways,
for
you
little,
get-
so it doesn't track at all. It's just
It is.
okay. Anyway,
You okay?
Yeah, we're good. We met Titty Poco. We're
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to go upstairs because you find out that Nico's hidden up there. So because clearly the dark guy, they wouldn't have taken her that far. But luckily she's still alive. So you think you're just in the upper part of this warehouse with this random statue, but actually there's a secret door, which I couldn't find for like half a freaking
Same.
hour because you had to turn on the goddamn lights to figure out where the door was. And as usual, I'm like, I don't need hints. I'm contained in a room. How much more could there
It's
be?
a finite
'cause
area.
They are quite...
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were elevator buttons the whole time. I didn't even try.
Right.
That's why.
The art was also confusing. It's a shame because the door thing
Yeah.
was a good idea. I like the idea of you turn on a light and you see scratches in the floor that indicates where,
Yeah.
it's in the shape, what would you say, a curve that look, it looks like what it should look like the door opens there. But it was too much convolution with keeping the elevator from going back down and finding which buttons did what. That was all very confusing.
Because you have to block a sensor,
Yeah.
and then you have to like reblock. After you free Nico, you have to like reblock the sensor so that you can. It was a bit, again, that was a funny one. But essentially, you're trying to get a statue up in the air because it's set up exactly that it could smash through the door. But first, you have to get Nico, who the whole time has been in the back room kind of muzzled. And here's the funny thing. There's like a little statue thing on the ground. When I went in, I grabbed it.
You did? You
before
took it first?
Rescuing her.
Nice.
I took it first, and she was such... but it was jarring a little because she was super mad. And she's like, you have no respect. You need it. She was so mad at me. But then afterwards, because it was just the one sentence in, she acted, oh, I'm so glad you found me. And she was so happy. So it was funny.
Right, yeah. The branch in the dialogue only goes so far, and all of a sudden she's back to
Did you do that?
No, I knew that you could. So to clarify, so you walk in the room, she's tied to a chair. There's a presumably valuable idol on the floor next to her and her. If you go to the idol before freeing her, she freaks out on you, which is great. I knew that, but I didn't try it, so I'm really glad that you did. My note for that part.
I didn't even know. I just was like, ooh, thing to pick up, and there it was. I had no clue. It was just funny.
Yeah, none of that happens if you just free her first. Yeah, she doesn't get mad at all. My note for that says, just quote, thanks. And then it says, Nico, after saving her ass. You get
And it's a
thanks.
fetish statue, too. I forgot.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
not
know why
just
they
a
kept calling
statue.
it that, but...
Right. But that's why I thought she got mad, because you chose a fetish over her.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's how they meant it. They call it a fetish the whole game. I didn't know that word associated with... I got Mayan idols.
Right.
I don't know. But... My next note says that Nico called us dear. We called her dear, and then she called us dear back. And then I said, you guys, I'm so invested in this story right now. What is going on with these two?
Well, that's what I thought. Because I was like, even though whatever happened with him while you were away, you're back now, and that she would gradually, over the course of the game, fall more in love with you.
Right. She stays pretty prickly the whole time.
She does. It doesn't improve. It does not get better.
Right. No, it doesn't. She's yeah.
Not even at the end. Sorry, back to get away from the end again there.
Yeah, well, because you end up. I don't remember, so I shouldn't try to fake it here. But my next note says that Nico loves making Andre, the lobster guy, and George jealous, and that they should probably just all fuck. Because there's a bit of a tension going on here at this point between all of them. I feel like they need to work it out, but.
I'm not a huge fan of the icon for Ubier's wife. I kept thinking it's a bit of a funny one. It looked very British, like Quentin Blake or something.
Right. She's like a movie star, right?
Yeah, it just makes her look like a little kid with a big face. I don't know. It was a bit of a weird one. But everything about this room is kind of like just you saying that. Like there's a fetish statue. You get a masking tape, rope, manacles. Like, okay, what is the next puzzle here?
Right, so tension is building. Both of our notes became a little charged, and at this point in the game,
that's what mine says.
That's interesting, right? I wonder, under the hood, psychologically, what was going on with the game for us both to end up with horny notes at this point, but anyway, we're going to Quaramont City next because of reasons. The Coyote Stone we acquired the Coyote Stone in that last bit with the warehouse, and now we're making our way towards realizing that there's 2 other stones that kind of go along with the Coyote Stones. Think Fifth Element, but there's only 3 stones, and it's really not like that at all, except for their stones. And anyway, Quaramont City was a really fun part of the game for me because it actually reminded me of a little bit of like Day 5 in Phantom Fellows, because it is a lot of dialogue, going around to all the characters and gathering information, and then one person tells you a little bit of gossip, and so you take that tea and go back to the other characters, and they expand on the lore and gossip, and it is all working towards something while being enjoyable dialogue, and I just really liked it. I felt like so cozy and comfy. Just, I don't know. I got the opposite of that sense of like, I can't wait to get through this. I just really like submitted to like, okay, we're just going to like exist here for a while and just talk to everybody until there's nothing else to talk about. And it was like, I don't know. I really liked it.
I wanted to do more for the little boy, the young man with no legs.
Right.
The beggar.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him. You couldn't even give him food. You couldn't give him money. You couldn't help him. There's literally nothing he does but give you a little bit of information. And I feel that as much as this game was fun, there was a lack of empathy in some of the situations.
Right. One of my notes later on says something to the degree of what you're saying there, and it equates it to Monkey Island 2, where I think Monkey Island 2 and Broken Sword 2, there's like the characters become a little colder, like a little more, I'm just going to fucking rob this house, and a little less, little lines that excuse or explain why you're doing, I'm not normally like this sort of lines. It's just, George becomes like a little bit more, he's still likable. He's definitely more likable than Guybrush is in the second one.
Agreed.
But yeah.
You know who is likable though? Pearl and Dwayne Henderson.
They're
who come back for this mission.
Yes. Okay, let's tie this in.
Especially Dwayne.
So last episode I asked you, did you get any inkling that Dwayne worked for the CIA? And now you see why. Because in the second game, they act like you've known that the whole time. Right?
Yeah, I had no idea about that at all. And it's funny, too, because in the second game, the 2 of them are fighting, and Pearl ends up going off with some other guy on a tour and even refuses to tell her husband. And I'm like, I don't know if your husband's really done anything wrong. Why are these girls being like this? Paul, it's not nice.
I know. Uncalled for.
Uncalled for. I'd call out if the boys were being that way. I felt the boys were just being fine. As far as them being boys, that's all. But hey, maybe it's just me. And you.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I have bias in the game, so it's a little more understandable on your end. Did you notice that the dialogue, so there's like a ton of characters in this point in the game where you are walking around talking to villagers and again, it's
Conchita
really...
and the general and Ronaldo and every single vendor and the guards and the musicians and the prisoner. And
yeah, there's a lot. And a lot of them have funny little things they're doing. Like one of them keeps like spitting near you and I don't know. There's little things like that make it fun. But I noticed that at this point in the game, the dialogue becomes like inventory based. Where it's less dialogue options and more using the inventory that you have to get information. Oh, you know what? That does sound like Day 5 for my game. That must be why I wrote that note down. Because all what I mean. All of a sudden, it's like it switches to this more detective-y, investigative sort of mode. Whatever. Next note is Nico looks cute in her little Mexican romper. It looks like she does. It looks like she dressed like, for the occasion. She's like, oh, I know something really cute for Mexico. Like it's gonna look.
And in this world, I thought every woman of any kind of power or predominance had some sort of green on her somewhere, and I wondered if it would carry on through the game, but it appeared to just be mostly here.
Yeah, she's basically doing like a Fidel Castro role play. It seems like. Yeah. Is her outfit. I know,
it's so good, and the short hair all tucked up in there and everything too.
Yeah, she rocks it. It is, it's called a Castro hat too. Those.
Is it?
Yeah. What are they? How would you even describe it? Well, the hat that Castro wears. That's how.
Well, it's like a baseball cap with a bit of a higher.
Yeah, but it's like cylindrical, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paramenti. I didn't know you could go into the mine, so I talked to everybody like 4 times around before I realized I could click the thing to go up into the mine company. Because I quickly went over it, and I didn't realize I had to randomly click near the roof of it. I'm like, oh. So that was fun. But yeah, you go around and you talk to everybody and you find out that music is entirely illegal. And you find out that the mining company wants to do work, that Dwayne is working for the CIA, which I guess you knew the whole time, that he's fighting with his wife, and that, maybe if the women selling vegetables didn't spit so much, she would get more customers, because that was a conversation that happened. And there's a random goat, but you don't want to mess with it, and it doesn't want to mess with you. But again, a little callback to the first game with the goat.
So the goat there's an Easter egg with the goat, and I don't think I wrote it down. But you can get the goat to talk to you.
I didn't get that at all. I should have looked at some walkthrough. I just didn't.
You have to show him the coal, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure if you show the goat the coal, that's what triggers it. And then he straight up talks to you, and it's all making a reference that I didn't understand. I didn't get the reference, so
that's funny.
I'm almost gonna confidently say it must have been from like a late '70s, early '80s show. Like it's just generationally, like I just missed whatever the hell they were referencing. But it's really weird and out of character, for the game. It's because it's really really jokey and it's just weird. It's really jarringly weird. But such is an Easter egg. Fair enough. I mean, the odds that you would know to give the goat the coal, the chunk of coal or whatever, is pretty low. So it's fun.
No, I didn't try it. It was like I tried giving the worm to the cat later on, and I got points for that.
So you played the Reforged version. Did you get to mess around with the in-game hint system at all?
Yeah, I did it on purpose as it got closer to the end of the game, and I was running out of time. I was like, okay, I get it. I gotta do 3 things first before I do the thing. Okay, what's the third thing? There was a bit of that. And it was exactly like UHS hints. Nice. I never once had to take it to like the 5th hint. It was always the first or second that would guide me in the direction I needed to go. And so I didn't have to leave the ecosystem of the game, which made it feel much more seamless, and I appreciated that.
Nice. Great. That's the extent that which we'll be comparing versions is that little clip right there. So that's you go. Yeah.
Don't ask for any more. Okay, so inside this mining building, Conchita, she's in there, and she wants to look at this map and plans that's in the general's office, because this general's kind of like a jerky guy, right? And nobody likes him anyways. So we've got this plot going on. So you have to find a way to distract the general. So, okay, maybe there's a little bit of retribution from George, because he sends Nico off to go to the general's house to distract him. And she really didn't want to have to do that, because she's just interviewing him for a glam magazine, but he's all like, we should be making love on my bearskin rug, baby.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, too, because when she's over there, the puzzle solving is you need to find a way to occupy him. So you essentially have to look at everything in his apartment. So you have conversation things to say to just keep him occupied. While in the meantime, George has to distract the guard that was at the general's house. And he sends the guard off with Dwayne's wife for a tour of the pyramids. Dwayne, it turns out, has a truckload of explosives, and you need a detonator. So if you can get the map from the office and give it to Conchita, she will give you a detonator. So she does. And you get her the plans from the map. Well, they're never good plans, right?
Yeah.
It's not stuff that she wants to see. So you tell her about the chart, and then you want to break this musician guy out of jail because Conchita wants to talk to him. And so everybody's gone. Okay. You want to break him out of jail, right?
Yeah, I didn't know why we were even breaking him out, honestly. So, yeah, okay, that checks out.
I know, for background information, at least you helped somebody that felt shitty, but you end up getting locked in jail because Buddy comes back. So Dwayne comes, and he's just going to blow the shit out of everything because he's got this giant truck of explosives. And I'm like, oh my God, you're literally doing a terrorism. Okay.
That was a nice Norm Macdonald delivery there. I appreciate that.
That's fine. So
You
instead,
do it with
though,
a certain
it turns out-
Canadianness that really, is needed for Norm. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I do love Norm Macdonald. Rest in peace. So instead of him blowing it up, he's just got a truck full of like shit fertilizer. Womp womp. You get nothing. So
I did
luckily,
not appreciate that part of the game, by the way. That was
No.
It was like a "what are you doing"
stupid.
moment.
It made Dwayne sound so stupid.
Well, they accidentally gave me fertilizer instead of bombs. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is going on right now? Why don't we just back the truck into the old clay wall? Like, I couldn't stop
instead
thinking
you have to take the rope that the inmate had given to him from the general so he could hang himself. You ask him to untie it, which he does with ease. I'm like, if you untied it that easy, honey, it wouldn't have worked for that cause anyway. But whatever. He unties it. He passes it to you. You tie it to the cell wall. You yell at Dwayne. He ties it to the truck. He pulls the whole freaking wall out of the jail. And boom, next scene, go.
Right. That's all I kept thinking was about, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But we get there. I mean, we get there in the end.
We get there.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Like, why that wasn't the first
yeah,
idea. Why would you... And the way Dwayne talks up the explosives, like, you're going to see this from here to Texas or whatever. Like, please don't light that then. Like, if we're just trying to take this wall out, why would you have a truck full of explosives anyway? The thing was, there was a disconnect going. There's this weird disconnect that goes on in this game. I feel like it does happen more commonly as the game goes on too, where the puzzles. It's almost like whoever was designing the puzzles didn't have access to the artwork, or you know what I mean. Like there's just these disconnects of like, surely this isn't the conclusion you came to, right? Like it just doesn't. I don't know. Anyway.
So anyways, as I said, Nico's in the general's apartment. She's looked at everything. But it's kind of funny because it turns out, and they had alluded to it in some of the previous conversations, that the general was actually being bossed around by his mother, who was this very sort of masculine, tough-looking woman. And she comes in and at first he's like, oh, it's okay. She's just here for an interview. And his mom's like, oh, well, she's all suspicious. And she's like, we need to guard our secrets. What's it about? But then she finds out it's just like for bubblegum glam magazines. And she's like, finally, you've made the right choice. And then she yells at him to propose to her. And he was like mortified. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was. It was really weird. Honestly, the proposal thing was very weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. So I'll leave it.
Yeah, the proposal thing was weird. And then you kind of leave it there. This is it. So Nico's fine, I guess. And that part's over. And then I think what do? You go off and you're going into the jungle. And you go off on this boat. And you get to the treehouse. But hang on, shocker, Nico is missing.
Right, Nico's missing
And
again.
so... And here's another weird part about this. Not only is she missing, but you literally cannot see her because the shaman, she's been bitten by a snake, obviously, and drowned because, everything went off the cuff there. But he won't even let you see her. And you take it. You're like, okay, man, I'm not even going to see her. We're going to walk off to a village to find a remedy, leave her alone after you smoke the guy out of his hut and figure out how to press his priest collar so that he'll go out in public.
Yes, I hated it as much as your
Yes.
voice is implying.
Oh,
like you
God.
got to
And
do
it's
better.
this whole elaborate setup.
Motivationally
I couldn't
speaking.
even find the vines. No.
Right. Yeah, it was hard to find everything. It's weird that there's literally a press next to a hut in the middle of the woods. I mean, I know that the game plays it off like you kind of constructed it to be a press, but there's like two perfectly cylindrical pieces of stone already on top of like a bamboo shoot, and all you have to do is put like a cross for a lever, and all of a sudden they like literally press things through them. It's and just the motivation behind it, like the priest being like, I'm not going to go save this woman's life. The priest being like, I'm not going to go save this woman's life unless my collar is pressed first. Like, bro. Just like, I just feel like another half hour of thinking in the same direction would have yielded like anything better than this. It's just not, it wasn't up to par with the rest of, with so much, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
And all the way to the village just to talk to the shaman, to really do nothing but have a conversation with him. Get the root you're looking for, which is exactly what you need. And then, I mean, other than getting through the guards, which really was a bit of a trifle of anything anyway.
It is, and you have to give the shaman the dog biscuits, which is already...
That's where you finally get the payoff, at least. Though,
yeah.
Because you're like, these are really good. And it turns out, okay, the chief likes the dog biscuits. So he sends back an empty box because he wants more. And then you can randomly put any one of your inventory items in the box until you put in the right inventory item, which is the stone. And then he's like, oh, you have the stone. We were told you'd come. And then he brings you in happily.
Right. I don't like the logic behind that at all either. It was really, I don't know. It just didn't feel very natural.
Mm-hmm.
Like they come back and they give you. I guess maybe getting the box back kind of tells you you're not done with it. So what do we do? But I didn't think.
He says, I didn't get it. And then he says the worst thing when you get in there. There are 2 more stones scattered across the world, and you must find them.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's when my head was just like, are you serious?
Yeah, no, it did feel a little exhausting at that point. I guess I didn't know why we had to sneak the stone in to begin with. So I don't know. Sometimes the puzzles I felt like did that. I'm going to catch everyone up on my notes real quick because they're largely positive. And then we'll move on from the island. Okay, so quick notes are this. Tetzaquacapulco, maybe. Is real, and his nickname is Smoking Mirror. So that's fun. The Mayan god Tetzaquacapulco was a real god, and I think his real nickname was Smoking Mirror. So that's fun. Dwayne, I feel like the voice actor for Dwayne was in Sam and Max, not Sam or Max, but in the game, and I don't know. Right. So I'm just gonna throw that out there for fun. This note says, Dwayne suggested George, Andre, and Nika are a threesome. It's not just me, you guys. So that was
He did actually suggest that.
Yeah,
Literally, he suggested that. Yes, that's very true.
I was so stoked. I'm like, it's not just me. I'm not projecting. it's in the DNA of the dialogue. You can feel it. Yeah. Showing everyone the panties is gold. I was having a lot of fun with that. Quaramonte's Day 5 vibes. The general has the perfect sinister smile. They nailed the artwork on the general smile for sure. Every time we show the fetish, this is a really cool little subtle design thing. Every time we show the fetish stone, and granted the fetish stone is like I forgot the name, but it's the Mayan devil, essentially, for lack of eloquation. Every time we show that to somebody, foreboding music plays. And it's really subtle.
I noticed. I like that.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a great little design thing. I really like that. There's
in the first game and in this game, it has this little sound that sounds like it should be points, but it isn't. And in the first game, it's like a sparkly sound, and it happens randomly in the music. And I thought it was connected to things I did for like almost half the game till I realized it had nothing to do with me.
Right.
Now go on.
Now go on. I like that. There's a pantless guy in that one room or whatever, and every time he gets up,
and you ask why he's pantless, and she's like, she wanted it that way when you talk to him. She asked me to be pantsless.
I like that. Yeah, I like that she's objectifying him. That was fun. And then Nico comments on it. She says that he has nice buns. And I'm like, damn, girl, come on. Like, with this disloyalty, I can't. You're breaking.
It's the opposite kind of sexist.
Right. Never mind. The danger, you shouldn't have done that. Music plays when you're showing Professor the stone. Okay, I think now we're caught up because we haven't mentioned the professor or anything like that. Let's move through this particular part a little quickly because there's not much there.
Just quickly, you get the root and you have to put it through the stupid press. But then you finally take the chimney cap, which I figured all this out in a flat second. There was no thinking to this. I'm like, obviously you press the root. Obviously you need to put a container underneath. I knew it was that right away. I put it underneath. You collect the medicine. The container, the stove cap, changes shape after you fill it. When it's in your inventory, it's a short, stout cap. And when you're holding it, it turns conical like a metal cup that is very pointy and long. And I didn't like that. Anyways, you bring it to her and she drinks it. And then you're like, you have to rest. But she immediately sits up and says, George, we need to blah, blah, blah. And that's, so you go off from there to the Ketch's Landing in the Caribbean. Do you see a Caribbean or Caribbean?
Oh, shit, I don't know. Caribbean. I think I say Caribbean,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I used to like Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Do you say
I don't
caramel
know.
or caramel?
Caramel.
Weird.
Caramel? Caramel sounds like
caramel.
a name. Like I want to go to Carmel's house and eat caramel.
Caramel. I mean, I get it. I know that caramel is paying better attention to the actual spelling, but...
I have caramel desires.
Oh, okay. All right, let's keep moving. So we're at Ketch's Landing. There's you're in the Caribbean.
Yeah. And you meet another dude that's arrogant with like a ponytail and
right, Bronson.
glasses or whatever because I mean, you don't know it and I'm not going to tell you, but apparently his plans he won't let you look at have nefarious things going on with them. And there's these two like twatty kind of ladies at the top that have a bitchy
twatty,
cat.
I thought you said.
Not twatty with a D though. I'm not calling them
not twatty.
twatty.
Yeah.
I'm calling them twatty. Okay, I'm being polite. And they're just like up there having tea. So the puzzle is between them, the cat, this snooty guy that has the plans you can't see, and a fisherman boy that's supposed to be the town delinquent that nobody likes because he didn't finish school, even though he can speak 2 languages, catch fish, and support his family. So that's your cast of characters for this. And so it's a smaller scope, and so there is some conversational based puzzles, but it does have more like action based puzzles within the scenes and your inventory.
Yes, exactly. I really like Rio. Rio's a little fisher boy. He's got a great little voice actor and a good little character too. He's a lot of fun. And there's a really, really interesting and wonderfully executed story mechanic in this part of the game with the little girl that was sincerely a bit of a twist for me. So might as well just get into that. You hear tell of like this little girl. I think it's Emily. I think, and that she was friends with Rio, and she keeps getting mentioned a lot, and you get the idea that like her and Rio maybe have this forbidden love, or that they're not allowed to hang out because they get in trouble, or they're experimenting or whatever. And then you end up in you work your way through this whole mess with the arrogant guy named Bronson and the 2 sisters, and the whole goal here is to just get inside of this pirate Ketch to get into his old house that's been turned into a museum. Because Ketch essentially has mapped out and hidden this treasure that we need to find, and inside of the treasure is one of the stones. So we finally get into the house. I don't appreciate at all anything to do with getting into the house. I hated all of that so much.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. Literally, you have to get the boy to catch a fish, and you want the cat to go after the fish so you can get the cat's red ball, which I'm like, what's with balls in this game? You have to get a juggling ball in the first game. Now you got to get the cat's red ball. I get it. So you have to literally hang an inner tube from a tire the little boy caught on a rod at the top of the house that you have to climb up with a ladder after you get the ladies distracted because they're off looking for the poor little girl. And then because the fish is on an inner tube, the cat starts chasing it in the air, which is what allows you to get the ball. But then you have to take the inner tube back, and you have to do it from up the ladder so you don't get scratched by the cat, so that you can use it as a slingshot to get a target down, because apparently you can't move a ladder because there's a bush in the way. So you can slingshot down a tiny target so that George can come and take a picture because he's busy using his whatever it's called, theodolite, some sort of camera thing that I don't understand the name of. I think the purpose of all of this scene is to move the Eagle Stone from being legend into like pirate history. As this chapter went on, it kind of was like, this is something that isn't really a real thing that people are rumoring about, and then it becomes like, this is a part of what our history is going to be, or what it was at the time. But other than that, it was just running back and forth, and then the guy has to go, and then you trap the guy, right? The jerky guy. You want to look at his plans. So you leave him hanging off the side of the house, which I thought was kind of funny, but how long would he really be able to hang? And then you find out, shocker, that he's about to build like a giant condo unit. and like a bunch of townhouses and all this other shit, like a mall. I don't know.
Yeah.
All this stuff that the ladies don't want. So once you rat him out, they're just like, pa, what a fool. They want nothing to do with him. So.
And then run him off. Yeah, the whole it's a lot. A lot of it doesn't feel believable. You're doing things like making a slingshot out of tree branches and like going these convoluted routes to chase a cat off when like there's probably no easier animal in the world to chase off than a cat.
Yeah.
like
I don't want to be mean to the cat, but pet it away. You know, oh, good kitty. Okay, thank you. I now hold your face here. I'm going to take your ball. Aw, you bit me. I don't care because you're a cat.
If you just make a high pressure noise, a cat runs.
Yeah,
like, if you know what I mean. If you put some force behind it, I don't know. I didn't appreciate any of that. But I did. There's redeeming qualities, right? So first of all, you finally get into the house, and you're like, first of all, there's no way this is the inside of that house because art-wise, the inside of the house looks just like the lower deck of a pirate ship. Like it doesn't align at all with this little colonial cottage house on the outside. But that's whatever. We take a feather.
So you're just essentially trying to find out about your stone. You're asking about stones to everybody. You go in here and you're like stone.
And now at this point, so going into the pirate house, we want to find Ketch's map. And Ketch has this kind of Rube Goldberg. Well, that's not accurate. Ketch has this little mechanic set up where if you put there's these imprint. I kind of like this part. It's bordering on convoluted, but I think ultimately it's pretty clean. His desk has these three peculiar imprints. One turns out to be the shape of, let's say, a map because you put the map there. The other one is where you would put a lantern. And the other is where you'd put a lens or magnifying glass or whatever the hell it was. And when you line those three all up, because the desk has you put them in very specific places, then the light shines through the lens and hits the map and shows you. It's really quite clever because it uses the shadow of a cross. And at the point where the cross diverges maximally, like, you know, at the nexus of it, is where the treasure is. And that was pretty clever. I feel like that was, I don't know. I hesitantly say realistic. So now we know where we need to get on the island to find the thing. And then before we go to that point, so here, just to organize our thoughts, Anna, the next point we're going to go to is the behind the scenes of the movie that's being filmed on the island. But before we start that, I just want to go over some notes that I skipped. So Emily, first of all, we take a feather, and the comment is, I'm going to take this feather because it might come in useful in tickling situations, which I liked. Emily, the little girl, bursts out of the pirate chest with some goofball ass dance, is my notes there, because she does this whack dance. It's my lucky Jesus cross. She thinks George's name is Jaws, so she calls him Jaws the whole time. I like that. Right, the indent for the map and all that was kind of clever. The feather shard was a legit pixel hunt. Yes, it was. Okay, here's just some fuckery. You take a quill and give it to the cat so that the cat will shred the quill.
Shred it.
Then you take a shredded part of it and ultimately
which
trade
you couldn't
it.
have done. You couldn't have done that yourself. Are you serious? That was annoying, actually.
Yeah. And then the whole point of it is insulting, too, because ultimately what you're doing is trying to trade a shredded piece of quill as fishing bait for a shell. So essentially, you're giving a cat a quill so that you can eventually get a shell. and that led me to say...
And then you give it to...
Yeah, you give it to the fisher boy.
Himself.
And that led me to say BS2 is way more bullshit than BS1 in the puzzle department. Yeah, for sure. And then, so what we're doing, by the way, we're getting this shell to trade it to Emily so she'll give us her lucky Jesus cross necklace. And I just wrote down, she lives on the ocean. Why would she trade a necklace for a shell? Like, for real, though. Like, this is the issue with the game that just got me the whole time. There's so many moments like that where you're like, this wouldn't happen. Like, it's just, I reject the premise. There's no way a girl living on the ocean would trade a beloved one-off necklace for a shell. It's just, I don't know. But then I also wrote that George hates Emily. He's really hard on her. Like, they're trying to play it for laughs that, like, this little girl's so annoying. Like, I don't know, Kimmy from
Yeah, Full House.
Thank you. Yeah, like they're trying to play it like that, but it's like he ends up just being really mean to her, like really mean to her. Like it's undeserved because anyway. At the end of all that, I find out that you only needed to borrow the cross. Like why? It could have just been, let me see that for a second so I can just put it on this fucking desk.
Just for 2 seconds.
Yeah, like I just need it for a minute, literally. But instead it's
I thought she was supposed to be like Pippi Longstockings is what she reminded me of.
Visually, totally, yeah. Right, and an attitude too, happy-go-lucky, yeah. So now I'm pissed because I find out we only needed to borrow the damn cross. Though, again, the map shadow thing was really cool. And then Emily says, she says it really sad. This is where I was like, George is so mean. She says, I never get to leave the house. And she said it like really sad. No. And so you go to talk to her.
And then you just walk away on her too.
Well, if you
just like, whatever.
Yeah. If you talk to her after that, I thought the game was going to recognize that and let George ease up on her because he's been so hard on her. But instead he doubles down and he says, there were several things I wanted to say to that awful kid, but I held my tongue. Like, jeez, George, relax.
Poor guy.
I don't know why he was so mean to her.
No.
Anyway, the girls made Bronson walk the pier. They make him walk it like it's a plank, which was cute. Bronson's the snooty guy who was trying to screw them that Anna mentioned. One of the dialogue lines was, there's a big pile of seawater in between us, which I like. That was Rio. And then, in caps lock, oh my God, Emily was a ghost.
Yep.
Okay, that was really good though, right?
That makes sense.
So
that was really good, actually. Okay.
So what happens is you go to Zombie Island, which is where we'll pick up in a second from, now that I'm through my notes. You're going to Zombie Island. Rio's bringing you there. Rio was the one that was supposed to be was good friends with Emily.
Yeah.
George is talking shit about Emily again because he just doesn't like Emily at all. And Rio's like, all right, George, like, it's not funny anymore. Like, please stop with this Emily bit. And I was just like, wait, what? I literally had to load my game to see it again because I was like, what do you mean? What did he mean by that? Like it had she's dead implications, basically. I'm just like, why would he tell him like enough with the joking and stuff like that? And so I don't know if there's another line or two that confirms it or if it's just in that. Oh, right. George's narration voice says, and with that, I never brought up Emily again. And it's just something that...
it does confirm it.
Yeah.
I mean, how else would she have kind of just been hiding in the sea chest?
Oh, thank you. That's what Rio says.
There's no way.
Right.
Yeah.
Rio, once George says that and Rio's like, it's not funny anymore, George asks for like extended backstory and he basically says...
Oh my God, that's how she died.
Exactly, in the treasure chest.
They were playing hide and seek. And she hid in the treasure chest,
yes.
And I'm just putting that together now.
Right, right. It's really good, right?
I knew that's really good. Actually, I like that. That's a lot of depth. That's really good.
It was. It's such a fun little side story that wasn't necessary. I'm so glad they went out of their way. Because, Rio essentially says, we used to play hide and seek all the time. She was really good at it. She was too good at it. And one day she ended up hiding in a chest and we didn't find her for days. And then you remember, oh my God, when I met Emily, she popped out of the chest, and then she mentioned earlier in the game, like I said, Emily says, I never get to leave the house because she's a ghost and she's bound to it. Oh, it's so good.
And you were just treating her like crap the whole time.
Yeah.
Sorry you're dead. Jeez, downer.
What an absolute dick. So, all right. Wow. Okay, I'm going to just bring us current on my stupid little notes, but I didn't mean to diminish them down to that level there.
Aw, they're nice notes, Paul. We like your notes,
okay.
don't we all? We do.
I didn't intend to fish for that with my shredded quill or whatever, but okay. That was rough. Sorry, guys.
Nice callback.
Some good lines in the game. One thing I don't like about guns is that they make people so damn impolite. That's a good line.
I like that too.
Nico was interviewing the general, and she's like, I'm running out of sofa, because she kept scooching away from him, and he kept scooching closer, and finally she's like, look, I'm running out of sofa here. The general has a swordfish on his wall with machine gun holes all over it, which I thought was funny. He machine gunned it to death. It's a nice touch that the general follows Nico around the room as you walk. At some point, George sings Psycho Killer. This Qu'est-ce que c'est thing.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that
then
was-
he tried. At first, I thought he was taking credit for writing the song as he told the story to the prisoner. But then I found out at the end he goes, "Or at least our version of it," And then he actually admits it's not his song, but it was pretty funny. But
Yeah.
what he kind of said is, in his version, they essentially did "Psycho Killer," "Qu'est-ce que c'est" over and over and over again for like 2 hours for the performance.
Right. Awesome. Okay, good. I'm glad it was that salient to you too, that you had to. Yeah, you've got several notes on
totally.
it. The proposal thing was weird. Yes, it really very much was.
Yeah.
Dude, the make a fire to get the priest's attention was absolute bullshittery. I don't even remember that.
You too, see exactly.
Did that piss you off too? Making a fire? I don't remember the puzzle, but
Yes.
Okay. Good.
I did. Yeah.
I said
it was
good,
to
sorry.
get. I mean, because he's like, you shouldn't do that. I have a sick woman inside. You're like, wait, I just put Nico's life in jeopardy to get this guy's attention. Oh shit.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah, this whole part was messed up. Making the press was also stupid and unappreciated. You can put a stone in the biscuit. Oh yeah, just a nerdy dev thing. You can put the stone in the biscuits, but not the biscuits with the stone. Gotta go back and cover that in the script, man. Because that shit haunts me, developmentally speaking. Like, it's so annoying to have to go and reverse everything. It's just like, I hate doing it. Like, okay, but what if they use the cereal on the bag? Dang it. And then you got to go and...
Oh God.
And so they just didn't do it. But you can't just not do it because the player will get really discouraged right away, like I did with the biscuits thing, where it's like, well, I guess that doesn't work.
True.
George says, what do you do here in the jungle? And the guards in the jungle say, we appear in documentaries. Which I thought was great. Like, we appear in documentaries. We've been in 7 so far. The shaman says, you must make haste to go save Nico's life. And George is all, mind if I sleep here? It's dark out. Which is a true thing that happens. Like, you got to get back and save her from the snake bite. And George is like, I'm going to actually sleep here because it's dark in the forest. And so he just goes all the way to bed and makes her wait till the morning to save her. Next note says, Quetzalcoatl, he's the guy from Sanitarium.
Yeah, I heard that too. That was good.
At some point, Bronson, the douchebag on the island, he says he would throttle a child. And I respect that.
Yep.
We've all been,
I mean, it depends on the child and the time of day and the time of month. Yep.
right, we've all thought it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned what a theodolite is. Theodolite?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, what? I thought it was a camera, or it's a surveying camera, is what it is,
Right.
and that's why I needed the target. Yeah.
Right. I looked it up, and I regret looking it up because trigonometry came up right away, and I hate grids. So,
Yeah.
for all of those reasons. Anyway, but we're back
It
as...
says the guy who does all of his animation within a grid.
Right, that's fair. So now we're back as Nico at the museum. They keep mentioning a scrying mirror, and I'm like, well, what the fuck is a scrying mirror? And then as soon as Nico gets to talk, she's like, what's a scrying mirror? And I was like, thank you. I don't have to look this one up. She's going to say it. But yeah. All right, Anna, you take us from here. We're in the museum now, and we're playing as Nico.
Yeah. And you're back in London, and she kind of stumbled down, right? And it kind of gives you this little setup. But yeah, she just has to go off and catch the subway. That's all. Simple.
Essentially. And this Ubier character who's like, you can't tell if he's the main bad guy or if he's a henchman for one of the other bad guys, but essentially he steals the stone that Nico was trying to get there. So there's these 3 stones.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden you don't have the stone, but it's supposed to happen. So there's really nothing you can do about it.
Right. Yeah, you're trying to steal it, and this Ubier guy steals it before you can. Drat. And then...
Yeah, there's stuff, music, cupboards, opening things, closing things, boom. It's actually not really a big scene. You have to use your dagger, I think, and then you have to push it into like a frame, and it was a whole puzzle.
And so you do all that, and you end up in the subway, which was fun. And there's actually, speaking of ghosts, there's a ghost in the subway. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
There's actually a whole Easter egg thing about it. I don't know if I have it in my notes or not. Let's see. But first,
I was paying attention. I was using the card and the crank. I think there was a light, and then I got on a train. I passed through that scene so quickly. I must not have appreciated it.
Right. Okay. So there's a ghost there. There's this. This is a really, really beautiful background, by the way. I really like the art in the whole underground part. It's really cool.
It's alive. It's very like lit up and colorful and graffiti. Like, it's quite good.
Yeah. So there's some like vending machines in here. Essentially, you're going to get a penny from one of the machines, and you're going to get some chocolate out of another machine. I don't remember if they're different machines. It doesn't matter. Essentially, check that old coin return slot. You get a penny. This isn't a really old, closed, forgotten part of the subway, right? So the last time it was in operation, a penny would have got you something. So that being said, here's what the Easter egg is. If you use the penny to get chocolate, well, you do that anyway. Sorry. If you give the chocolate to the ghost, so if you walk a little bit right, there's a ghost there, and he lingers for like 10 seconds. Maybe actually a lot less than that. You only have like a very few amount of seconds to quickly get the chocolate and use it on the ghost. If you do that, it unlocks where you can walk down the hallway to the far left of the screen that's blocked off.
Wow.
And when you do that, you get a whole elaborate Beneath the Steel Sky Easter egg thing where
I guess that's one good reason to start looking things up, because I was just playing through straight up. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's pretty neat because it was designed for the game. Like Nico actually interacts with the main character of Beneath the Steel Sky. It's cool to see him in pixel form and her in high res form. Let's say, yeah, it's pretty neat. It's worth a quick YouTube thing or whatever. So anyway, when you're in the subway, well, my note here says like I don't know what I'm doing here, so I looked up a hint. It says that I need a red light. Okay, so there's a light here that's green, and ultimately what you're trying to do is turn it red so that the subway stops at your stop, at this old abandoned stop. But it's like at no point was that clear, and this really pissed me off because I put in why wasn't that clear, because when you look at when you look at the light, it doesn't give you any signaling at all. It doesn't say like it says. Let me just read my note. I put why wasn't it clear from looking at the light or the wall where the light reflects on it that train signal light still works is the extent of the direction here. So the only thing they give you to tell you that you want to turn this green light red is the train signal light still works. But like that wasn't enough for me to know that like I should try to get this thing to turn red. So I was really lost on what to do. And then I don't know. And then there's this latchbox puzzle, and I basically said this latchbox is what's wrong with Broken Sword 2. I need to use a knife to open the door in the wall. So yay me, that makes sense. Almost a dopamine hit until for some reason it's not open enough. So you use knife on latch to get it open, but then it doesn't open enough. So now you need to use an old paper card that you got from a vending machine as the difference maker. And this old paper card, as you would use a credit card to slide through a door slot to unlock a door, apparently the paper card is strong enough to do that. And I'm like, okay, we unlocked it like a credit card, but maybe like you don't need the dagger at first, or you don't need the card. Like why was it both? Like I just don't understand. And you have to, I guess, keep in mind too, is like it was a lot of effort to get the paper card from the vending machines. Right. Like all that's a puzzle. And it's just like, I don't know. It just felt like in the first game, everything works so good because like they realized that you didn't have to make it hard. You just like, hey, if the player figures out to use the dagger on the old box, that's enough to open it. And it's like, yay, I figured something out. I'm smart and I'm having fun. And like that's what the first game would have done. The second game is like, that's not enough. Now you have to go through this convoluted process to get an old paper card and then use the paper card as you would a credit card. And the logic breaks down right then and there because paper's not strong enough, and we all know that, but we're going to ignore that in the game rules and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, this is where Broken Sword 2 drops the ball over and over again compared to the first one. It's in the puzzle design like this. And then my next one actually says, okay, breathe. So that's helpful. That's helpful for real life right now. You finally make the light fucking red or green or whatever you wanted it, and you're back as George.
Okay, we're going to move on. George is on back to Zombie Island again. And Paul and I took a short hiatus to figure out our timelines because actually this game gets kind of convoluted. For the rest of the time, you're switching between characters faster and faster and going from location to location, which I think they did kind of to make you feel a little bit more stress and pressure as things are getting more intense, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that we were able to play as Nico. That's cool. The first game didn't quite give you that, and I like switching between characters. I mean, you don't have like the agency to switch when you want, but it's still cool perspective wise to be like, okay, now back to Nico on the other side of the world. Not really, but anyway, yeah. So we're
because at first I was At first I was stressed out that you had to find 2 more of the stones, and then I was relieved that Nico was going to go off and find the other one of the stones. But then I was like, oh wait, I have to find them with both. Never mind, I don't get it easy. I thought I was getting off like I don't have to do that. Nico's doing it way
She'll
over
do it
there.
for
It's
us.
like, no,
I'm
you are
her.
also Nico. Yeah.
Right. Dang it.
Okay.
I'm
I
also
get it
her.
now.
Fair enough.
So this is where the game differed. For the first time, pretty much, the game differs for Paul and I because I'm playing that Redux, and they simplify it on my version. It's basically there's only one way through, so I guess you would have had a bit of a maze, and I didn't get any maze. And then you had to deal with this angry boar, and for me, it was just kind of in passing, right? So this would have been kind of a pain in the butt for you, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So scene setting. We're back at Zombie Island. We're George. We're looking for this bloody treasure thing, and there's a boar, and there's just I don't know. It's a mess. Yeah, it's a really annoying little maze because like where you exit changes and it's not a great time, and they cut it out of the remake, the Reforged or whatever, as they should have. So yeah, good spot.
Yeah, it was the best decision. So you got to use the theodolite. It sounds like you're yodeling.
It does. Yes, that definitely had yodel implications. Yep. Yeah. Makes me want to Ricola listening to you say that.
Ricola.
With the big I don't know what that has to do with yodeling though. I guess just because we're on like Swiss mountaintops and shit right now. Anyway.
Yeah, look. Echoing. You know, there's more yodeling in that. Oh, Sound of Music. Really.
Is that maybe that was the connection? Because I mean, definitely seeing Sound of the Music yodeling, as I talk about Swiss mountaintops.
Yeah.
Makes me want a Swiss cake. Remember those Swiss cakes?
Oh my God, those were so good. Yeah. They don't. It's gone, right? Those are long gone.
I have a suspicion that they weren't actually Swiss. Those cakes.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, B.
You know, Viennettas a thing. Do you remember those ice cream Viennettas? And they were like kind of like different kind. Anyways, they're around again. I think it was Jess in Australia. She said that she had one. I hope I'm not wrong, but I think so.
Yeah. No.
They're really good.
Was that not you? Didn't we just go through this? We were trying to figure out the name.
Yeah.
Of what it was?
Yeah, but I had a conversation about it recently, so I now feel refreshed on the subject.
Oh, right. I did too. We both had separate conversations about this recently, so it's weird that you're bringing this up.
You did too?
I did, like a month ago. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out, not you, but me and we were trying to figure out what they were called and
right.
You know, where they went.
Right.
And why they went there.
Right, because the way where they should go is in my belly.
Absolutely, yeah. If y'all don't know, Viennetta, I don't know.
Viennetta.
I'm not confident with it. But they were like this ice cream thing with like all these really thin layers of chocolate that made it like crunchy and gave it this really amazing texture. And I think Breyers made it. Everybody listening knows it. There's no way you got through the 90s and you don't know it.
Depending on where you live. Apparently we have people that listen that aren't necessarily in North America.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Because I'm in Canada on Vancouver Island as a reminder, or just in case you didn't know. And then Paul's in
Colorado, in Boulder. If anybody is in Switzerland, what are your cakes like?
Are they Swiss-like, the way we think, like a roll with chocolate and like white icing? Is
it a ho-ho? Is it a glorified ho-ho or whatever?
Good chocolate?
Yeah, I mean they got Milka out there. Milka's really good. Milka bars.
I love Milka. And then you know the eggs with the. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, guys. Go have a snack.
Right,
you can bring us with you. We're portable. It's fine. But in the meantime, you're doing this thing.
I'm glad you stopped us. That could have kept going for a while. I wasn't really aware of what was happening.
How to make a really long episode unnecessarily long.
Yeah, it's already long. Okay. Look, we're at Zombie Island. There's a boar thing. Don't worry about it. Now we're up on Lookout Mountain. You got to go to the
Rock Needle, and there's a surveying thing. Right?
Yeah, we do a surveying. We find the glint. By the way, this was fun. I maybe have a note about it somewhere. I don't know, but you're looking for a little bit of a glint as you're moving the Theo, whatever got us into the yodeling conversation. Right. And
Don't start it again,
I
Paul.
know, I really want to, though. I have more Swiss things to say, but it's fine. And so we found the spot in the island in which we know we can find this effing stone. It's really been quite a thing getting the stone. If you think back to Ghost Girl and everything we've been through, for the love of God, we finally found it. It's in a difficult place, so this isn't over. But back to Nico in the meanwhile at the London docks.
Right, yeah. So she goes to the docks and she's trying to be all sneaky, right? And there's Pablo and the guard because she's all like, ooh, what's Ubier and that Karzak dude up to? Mm-hmm. And she's trying to be all sneaky. And you have to figure out it's a timing puzzle in this case. So you're waiting for the guard to pass and then you're climbing the ladder. Did you see what happened? Can you get caught? I actually didn't even think to try getting caught.
No, I didn't either.
No, I wonder if there was.
Yeah, there's got to be. Because to this game's credit, I do like how they kill you when you should die.
There's deaths. I don't know how we got this far without mentioning there's deaths. Did you know you could also die in this game?
Yeah. Yeah, you fully
totally
can.
Makes sense. They do it really well.
They do. Yeah, they handle it really well. Well, especially well for Anna's version, because again, the original version doesn't have the continue or whatever.
No. That's true. I do. But anyways, so you Harry Potter this guard dude. You like jam him up in a cupboard, and then you have the ability to take a peek. And you're spying. So it's got a really cool point of view where you're looking through the portal into the restaurant, and you're kind of just watching what's happening. But then it flips in, and you can kind of see that. I think Ubier. He's the one gets killed, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Ubier gets killed by Karzak.
Man, and shocker. And then
especially for our listening audience who's just heard the name Karzak for the first time.
Oh, right. We're actually going to use names because we just got so much better at names.
Yeah, this one guy that seemed bad the whole time, he was bad.
I know. Me describing, Paul's like, where are we in the game? I'm like, well, this guy and this guy, we're having a talk. And then we go over here and the other guy. But anyways, there's you got to go in and check it out and talk to Ubier. I think he was still alive. And then he's got like a stone or whatever. But then Karzak, he wants that. So he comes in and you have to be all like the heroine. You have to. I've always been confused because aren't heroine and heroine spelled like the same? Or are they spelled different? No, there's no E in heroine. That's what it is. Maybe.
Okay, right, yeah. I get that same cross up that you do, too.
No, I get mixed up in that. I mean, I shouldn't get mixed up in heroin. I guess it's a bad idea.
Well, it's not the 90s. You don't play guitar. You'll be fine.
No. Slash is the only one that can pull it off like classy wise.
Yeah.
Nobody else can really do that.
Yeah, I agree. On a dead serious level, yeah.
No, for real. But yeah, that's it, right? You get the stone, and and that's it. You stab the dude in the leg in this epic scene. Like, she actually does really well for herself. She like turns around and she's like, whoa, right in. And it was a really neat little scene. I quite like that.
Yeah, agreed. No, that was all fun. And it was a good relief from the previous, It's fun. Look, I'm not going to diminish it with what the game done to us a minute ago. I was just remembering, we never talked about the stone that definitely, I'm sorry, everyone, it looks like a penis in the woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Where you you have to put a net on a reflector, on a vine, on the rock. Like, it's just so much fuckery.
So you can get a grid.
Yeah, so you can get a grid, and that inspired this rotten note that I had to write. I'm sorry, but I said this game feels like the difference between years to plan out and not.
Yeah.
Like, I could imagine having this story lined up for years because the story's well thought out, but then the puzzle-wise, it just seems less masterful. They're just like, do all this convoluted bullshit, and then you'll eventually whatever. Like, that's the spirit of what these puzzles feel like. Irreverence and all. Yeah, penis rock.
Like, you didn't, like, it happens. Okay, I'm going to go into the design files of the Phantom Fellows for a moment and say that occasionally you would make an object that would inadvertently look quite penis-like, and it would take a little while to finagle it, because you wouldn't maybe even always see it, and you'd send it to me, and you'd be like, does this? Or I'd even say, that's a bit phallic. And you'd be like, oh, shit, I can see that. And then you would work with it until it didn't look as phallic, because it's amazing how easy it is to make something look like genitalia.
Yeah.
Accidentally, even with pixels, right? So.
One interpretation of your story is that Paul starts by drawing dicks and then sculpts it into...
That's going to be the post on like Reddit. I don't know.
Oh my God. All right.
Is that a question you could ask? What body part do you start everything as and move it away from? No.
And
That's getting a bit. This is what happens when we go back to recording at nighttime, kids.
Yeah, I guess so. This is pretty unhinged, but it's good. We're good.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. So yeah, that's it though. You're done.
We're done.
Like,
We're back as George. We're on Zombie Island, and this game just really it's playing it fast and loose, and it's being weird because now they're like there's a movie being filmed on the island, and you just walked into the middle of its set.
Yeah, and it's another like it's like back when you went to the other island. It's a talking to people thing. You're just gonna go around and see what's up and find out the situation by talking to everybody.
Did you also think it was just a bit? Like, I thought it was just going to be a quick bit and a joke. Like, oh, we walked out and, we interrupted a movie being filmed on an exotic island, but then it's like, no, but for real, like, settle in, and talk to everybody 7 times. And you're like,
even though they're working at the time and nobody wants it.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, that again, it just felt a little weird because I was like, I don't understand why I care about these people right now. Like, you know what I mean? We're really in the middle of something. I don't see why we're going to stop to... Okay.
It's Treasure Island, that's why. Maybe the guy that wrote this had a thing about Treasure Island. And I mean, it did have Sharon Kowalski, and if you don't know who she is, obviously you're nobody. No, neither did George.
Oh, right. Okay. She did one. She was into George, though. She wanted... Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
It was speaking
But it was like... Go ahead. I was just going to say everything zombies. It was just funny. They did like funny twists. They tried to make it funny.
It was very tropey.
Really tropey, yeah. Very parody like zombie pirates.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't appreciate it. I really didn't. I don't know if I've just begun turning on the game at this point, which is possible. But it just like I like the idea of the film set thing, but I didn't like the execution because they went so... like a caricature of everything, right? Like beyond stereotype into caricature, where it's like every like the budding young film star who's super into himself, and like the really, slutty movie star who's like all over George, and then the young director who's like, I don't know, it was just
completely
all so
changing.
On the nose.
He retconned the whole story. He threw in a volcano, and he changed. He's like it's not even. But no, he's still calling it Treasure Island, right? So yeah, that's just what it was kind of like.
Okay, here's to Anna's earlier point about how this game's meaner than the first one, that whole Monkey Island 2 thing. So there's a stunt guy here who's super nice to us. He's nothing but nice to us. And my note here says, wow, we got that man attacked by bees, and he was nothing but kind to us.
They were hornets, man, dude. It's not nice.
And then my follow-up here is, but for real, that's what this game's puzzle side has all wrong. Why would I be doing this, Past Me says. Why get a man I just met who was nice to me attacked by a swarm of bees? Why? And okay, the question is, how would I know that I want the stuntman injured so I can take his place?
Okay, it did that a few times in the game. Like, for example, when you were trying to light the fire to smoke the guy out of the hut, the priest that was taking care of Nico.
Yeah.
Every time you touch something, you'd be like, oh, those leaves are too wet to start a fire with. And I'd be like, wait, I haven't decided. I haven't told the game that I've made the decision to start a fire. So why would I care that the leaves are wet? I would expect it to say, the leaves are wet.
Right.
And then you'd figure out that you need to start a fire. You'd be like, oh, I guess since there's now paper on the leaves and it's dry and I have access to sparks, because I didn't know why I ran up and put the statue on that wheel immediately. Sorry to go back in time and digress, but it's just a point I forgot to make. And it's done it a few times where it's like the game is foreshadowing what you need to do, but it doesn't need to do that because it has a hint system, at least this version. So maybe it's more important, I was thinking in your version, for it to do a bit of foreshadowing, but it does seem a bit out of time, doesn't it?
It was, I don't know, I think the game just has a really hard time with signaling to the player, because you should be constantly signaling, giving, like, you know, to the degree that the hints are subtle, the player feels like they did it themselves, right? So you're trying to, like what I was saying, it's interesting you bring this up, because I noticed more often the opposite problem. Like being in the underground in the tube with the whole red light, green light thing. Like when you look at the red light, they should have signaled the equivalent to that wet leaf thing. But they just didn't. They just left me hanging. Like, and then to this current example with the stuntman, maybe I missed something. So let me actually just phrase it as a question to you. But like, why were we getting the stuntman attacked by bees? Like, we would later find out that it's because we're going to need to take the stuntman's position as stuntman, so that we're the ones who get to go up to this Eagle Rock place, which, by the way, it's not that easy because the game makes you convince the director to even shoot it there, which involves a little bit of bullshit. And anyway, if you finally get to the position where you can, they're filming the movie at the Eagle Rock place, then George has to be the stuntman so that he's in a position to get the stone that's up in Eagle Rock. But like, if you rewind like 40 minutes of gameplay, that's dramatic. If you rewind 20 minutes to getting the stuntman stung by bees, it's like, why are we doing this though? Like, at that point, you have no idea that like maybe I should get the stuntman injured so that I can later take his place, because in the next screen that I'm not even at yet and can't get to yet, they're going to tell me that the camera's bogged down in the sand. And we're going to, you know what I mean?
They foreshadow it. They foreshadow that you need to do it pretty heavily immediately as soon as you introduce the idea of anything sweet or sticky. They're like, oh, God, no, we'd be eaten alive by a bug. So, like, you know that it's coming and you know that you need to. But yes, knowing why and what, like, there's a little bit of an indication maybe that George is interested in participating, like, as in just underlying through the questions and the conversations, because he's all like up into it. He's all like, hey, did you want to be an actor? Like, the game takes over and you start actually talking to these people instead of just clicking random inventory items. It's like you're having these conversations, and it almost changed. Like, was it a fantasy idea of a scenario where you could ruin somebody's life or potentially injure or kill them so that you could take their place in a movie? Or was it shoehorned in as a puzzle? I don't know.
I do. It's absolutely not the Briar. There's no way.
Trying to be nice here.
Yeah, no. Jesus, that was as convoluted as the puzzle, dear. I appreciate you trying, but no, I'm not letting it off the hook for this. There's absolutely, yes, you're right that it signals we're going to need to do something with the syrup and how a bug would attack it. But there's no other gapping the chasm between this nice stuntman guy and let's get him viciously attacked by a swarm of bees because we want him injured so that we can take his place.
Yeah.
It's too many steps away from it.
I know, it's weird. But it was, you know what, there was a lot of progression I felt when I was playing that part. Like the game, the movie, him moving sets and all of that, it kept pushing it forward.
That's true.
And I know it was the conversation you'd have that would trigger it to the next step or whatever you do, but it did really have a feeling of movement and progression that reminded me of the beginning of the first game a little bit. Like, the story was going forward, things were changing and happening as you were doing it, and it's not just different scenes being flipped around. So I kind of appreciated the cheesy corniness of it and talking to everybody. I thought it was fun. It was like meta without being meta, because it was like a movie within a game. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Fair enough. I wanted to. I turned on it at some point because I really enjoyed this style of gameplay earlier in the game at that island, like going around and talking to everybody. And I don't know. It was just the way they hammered those tropes in. It was starting to just get really like a little, I don't know, as the kids would say, it was a little cringy. I was just like, ugh, I don't know. I turned on it, especially when you go to the next screen and the camera is bogged down in the sand. And again, like that, I'm sorry, it just feels so lazy. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. I feel like you could just spend like maybe 2 or 3 more days thinking it through, and you'd come up with something great. But instead, they're like, yeah, how about they moved the camera and then it got stuck in the sand, and then nobody's gonna do anything about that. They're just gonna accept life as, well, now that camera's bogged down in the sand, and we'll just, I guess, never use it again. Like, it was, you know, like that's not what people do. That's not how we act. I reject it.
All right, so as you said, we move to the other beach. So the moving set, the rolling set moves to the next phase, and they have to go and do more shooting, and you get to be a part of the action, which is kind of fun. But through the action, you get to go through to a different place and climb through, and it was like in the cavey area, and he gets an eagle stone. So yay, that's all done. You're done with this. You're done with all these weird convoluted people and the guy that was potentially needing to be hospitalized because of terrible wasp wounds. And you get to go back to Nico,
Yes, and this has my favorite line in the game. So you're back at Nico, or as Nico, and we're in Quaramonte or something, and we come across Titipoco again. Titipoco pulls a gun on us, and then fires it, and it turns out to be a lighter.
Right. And you needed a lighter, so it was convenient at the time.
Yeah, that's true. And so I wrote in the notes, like, not funny, Titipoco. And then but right after I put my note down, Nico says, Titipoco, you little asshole. It was so good. You little asshole. Man, it pairs better with the visual because he is little and he's a bit of an asshole. Anyway, She said what I was thinking. So that was peak this game for me. I really liked that.
So now Nico's a little bit scared, right? Because the whole village is on fire, and she finds George's sunglasses on the ground. Remember?
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh my God, I think he might have died or he might have burned up." And that's when she runs into the Titipoco. But at the time, she doesn't know his gun isn't real.
Right.
But obviously, he's not really into shooting her. He's actually quite a nice guy.
Yes, but the game plays it well because we don't really know
Titipoco
Titipoco in that moment. Like, and this game has a lot of double crossing and stuff. So I'm like, oh no,
it does.
Not Titty.
Angry faces in the little comics. Like,
yeah.
Brr.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, he's sweet, and that all goes down. What happens after that is you're trying to pick this stone up, but it's too hot, and the barrel's too heavy, and you're like, Titipoco, help me. And then he does, and you can do all the stuff, and you can go off. So you're going off to the pyramid. As you can see, like you're trying to converge these stories a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like with places that you're going, the idea of each of them. So you're off to the pyramid, and George is there, but he's all like, he's captive, it turns out.
Yeah, see, as you just said, it turns out that was a very weird part of the game, wasn't it? Because last time we were George, we had just triumphantly acquired the stone. And then it cuts to Nico in a burning village with implications that George is in trouble. And next thing you know, George is kidnapped on top of the pyramid and it's as a sacrifice. And it's like, what the hell happened? Like, why? I don't get.
And that is the rest of the game to me. Everything that happened was just like, what the hell just happened and why? Right up until the very end.
It's weird how it feels like they're gaslighting you a little because they play it so
well. The guy holds the freaking gun. He's holding the gun, like, and his arms are so shaky. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to shoot because his arms are so shaky and it looks so intense. And it's like, no, they're going to leave him in that position with the shaky arms. Well, Nico can go up and down this freaking elevator and do all these other, like, questy things. And he'll just stand there the whole time shaking his arms at George on the platform, like, weird.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let me give the game some props real quick. The scaffolding puzzle was fun, like when you're setting it up, because it's simple. Yeah. There's like a few misclicks involved, and then the solution. Like that's peak puzzle. You know, I didn't get it right away, but it didn't. You know, I got it in enough time to feel accomplished. To what you were just saying with the general guy. By the way, the guy who's holding the shaky armed gun to George that Anna just mentioned, that's the general from earlier that was pressuring Nico.
That's
and it turns out his first name is Raul. And George, there was a lot of funny dialogue here.
Raul.
The scaffolding puzzle was really good. That was fun. It was simple. It was like it wasn't like a multi-step thing like a lot of the puzzles in this game turned out to be. It was just like a one-off, a few misclicks, and then a solution.
Yeah,
so.
It was good. And then there was just some guards to talk to at the front so you can do a bit of conversation. And then you realize you have to light something on fire, obviously. So you ask Titipoco, if you can have access to the lighter gun. And she's like, the one you pulled on me so amusingly. And you can hear it. She's like dripping it with sarcasm. I like that part.
Right, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, she was holding on to some resentment from earlier. You little asshole.
Yeah, it's true.
I gotta talk a little shit because past me was pretty upset in this note. It says, "Sorry, man, I'm just not buying the loud motor." And this is to get your thoughts on it, Anna. I'm just not buying the loud motor of the scaffolding, not drawing attention to the guards that are 10 feet away, and that it can arrive at the top 5 feet away from the baddies without them noticing. You know what I mean?
And that she can hold a gun to him, and he is so scared because he was so shaky pointing the gun at George that he like threw the gun in the air. He was like, ah, like a little girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to the general dude. Yeah. There was just too much of that in this game where like you're doing something like firing up a loud motor, like, and there's people right there. And like I keep saying in this episode, like that's just not what people do. Like we wouldn't do that. And I just, it's too much of that. It really started wearing on me at this point in the game. But, one thing we haven't mentioned to the listening audience this whole time that we should have, arguably, is that a lot of this game's Mayan-ness is building towards a eclipse that's taking place. Mm-hmm. And so where we're at right now on the top of the pyramid, George is strapped to the table with a gun being held to him because he's to be the sacrifice during the eclipse that will make the smoking mirror god, Mayan god, come back.
And to be clear, up until this point, there has been no actual magic, much like in the first game, in the game. Nothing magical, nothing otherworldly. It's just kind of conversation and talk about it and ancient stories and rumors, but straight up, like nobody's done a trick that's anything other than pretty practical, real stuff. Would you say?
I would say, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I guess...
I just needed to clarify that, because it will come into play later.
Right.
That statement.
Well,
so yeah, anyways, you're tricking the general, you're doing the things, you end up, you free George. You scare the guy, he throws the gun in the air, you're at the pyramid entrance after that, and you're still George, Nico, and Titipoco, and you're all together.
Yeah, and I think right before that, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's 50-50, the general, Raul's mom shows up. And to try to I don't know, strong arm this ritual into happening because she's on the dark side, and she decides to kill her own child. Mm-hmm. That was,
as happens.
She was basically like, if you're gonna stand in the way, then you're gonna die. And like I don't know, I don't really buy in that, man. Like I know there's like fringe
she's so
edge
mean
cases,
to him, but
like,
she wanted him to get married. She wants grandbabies.
Yeah,
right?
for her to just be like, well, then you'll die since you're in my way. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're gonna write a story where the mom's gonna choose to be responsible for her own child's death, like it should be pretty well written. And this was more just like, you're in the way, then you'll die. And I'm like, dude, that's her son. Like, I don't know. I'm just not buying any of this. I guess I turned on the game by this point completely. But I can
hear that. I didn't pick up on the nuances of all of it in that way. I just took it as story, and I didn't even clue in.
Yeah, just looking at the storytelling part of it. Like, I don't know. If you're gonna, if you want me to believe that a mother's gonna be okay with killing her child, it should just be, I don't know, more convincing than this. Fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter.
So it was pretty in the cave. You're doing a bunch of stuff with the coyote stone. You're inside the pyramid now, like just in the entrance. You're trying to get to like this wheel room, but you're not there yet. You have to. It's like
you all go
there's
through...
a bit of fun puzzle at the end.
Sorry, but before the wheel, just to be clear, you at this point everybody falls through trapdoors and ends up in different rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just okay.
Right.
Anyways, I was saying, yeah, it's really pretty here, and everybody falls. Yes, everybody's very sad, and that's after that you get the little cutscene that you were mentioning, and his mom comes up and she's just like, oh, that's it, you're dead, and it's all bad. And I think it was meant to be a funny little interview. She's just like, where's the sacrifice? He's like, I'm sorry, they ran away, like, and he was so bumbling, right? And then she was right away. Because she remember, she's like, I should have strangled you at birth.
Right.
She said that to him.
Yeah, dude, you're arriving at where I was at now. I appreciate it. It's cathartic. You're like, she said that to him.
No,
it's like, I don't know.
Terrible.
And it's not ultimately consistent with who she was in his apartment. Like you said, at that moment, she wanted to be a grandma.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
It's a little bit, and she looks so angry, right?
Yeah.
so sad and disappointed and just disgruntled at him in general.
But thank you. I forgot that was the death part too. Is that she orders him to be the sacrifice since George is gone now. Like, you let George go, well then you're going to take his place. Like, wow, I don't know.
And I don't know, him and his poor yellow heart will have to get sacrificed. But yeah, okay, fine. But after that, you go straight to Nico, and you get to do a puzzle. Yay! So here's where you have to do four of these tiles on these round things and back and forth in between, and it's kind of tedious and you have to turn it. And to be honest, with all the fun conversational puzzles, I didn't know if I was ready for a wheel turning puzzle.
Nope. It's the last thing this game needed, or its pacing. Well, that's not fair. The pacing was pretty good at the end, because you keep switching back and forth between characters, as you alluded to a few minutes ago, Anna, where like it's moving along. It does so by every time you switch between George and Nico, like Nico's or each other's task was just like one thing you had to do, right? So like you weren't either one of them for that long, and the pacing was really nice. And then just all of a sudden it just grinds to a halt with this horrendous puzzle. Like my note says, gross, a real puzzle, because it was like a real puzzle. Like, ugh.
The only redeeming quality to me was I like the quality of the blues in the pictures.
Okay.
That was it.
Nice.
Yeah. There's my way of putting a positive spin on this puzzle that I very much did not enjoy.
Yeah, you dug deep there. The lapis lazuli was I don't know.
Good.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
Blah, secret door.
Yeah, well, my last note, okay, I mean, maybe you can walk them through the ending, but I'm just going to say that my last note is, so the game ends with a series of lever pulling. How climatic. Because that's basically, after you do this gross puzzle that Anna just mentioned, it's just the worst. Then you basically, as George, pull up and push different levers, the right ones and the right whatever, and it opens different doors, and then you just walk into the ending.
Yeah, him and Titty Poco.
Yeah. And that's,
Well, Titty Poco didn't do shit. He just kind of sat his butt down and was like, whatever, you go ahead, solve your shit.
Yeah, he gets hoisted up romantically by Raul, by the general, so he can reach his thing. Raul decides to sacrifice his mom. So the tables get turned. Raul obviously doesn't get sacrificed. I don't know if we've been calling him Raul or the general. So I think it's been the general. Sorry to confuse. So the general whose mom wanted to sacrifice him, let's say, role gets reversed. He's in a position to save either his mom or Titty Poco, and he lets his mom die. Yeah. Which, I mean, at that point, I guess fair enough, because she did just try to kill him.
Maybe that's to justify him killing his mother. They had to make his mother so evil and so horrible that it was okay.
That she had to want to kill him first? Man. It's just a weird angle. It's fine. That was their choice.
Well, it's like the whole ending the whole reason everything kind of starts to go south is Titty Poco's too short.
Yeah, right, yeah. We could blame most of this on Titty Poco. The ending does have an awesome Saturday morning cartoon animation vibe to it that's really good.
Like Skeletor. This is my point about the magic.
Okay, yeah.
Up until this point, there has been no real actual magic, same as in the first game. But at the very, very end, in the last 5 minutes, there is magic. And it is real. But then it is only so temporary that the person with the magic gets to keep it for like less than 2 minutes, much like the first game.
Right. It did exactly. It did copy paste the first game. Yeah. Exactly in that sense. Yeah. Where this otherworldly power is teased but then sucked back into where it came.
But there's melting skeleton bodies and fire and cool stuff in the meantime. It's a little more metal. So
yeah.
That was pretty epic. It was like Dragon's Lair or something. It just has that kind of you hit the right button combination in the right timing, so you get a cool cutscene.
Yeah, like the skull, the skeleton art, just the art direction has Dragon's Lair vibes. Good call.
And now they're like a new family, and this dude, whatever, he never fully disappears though. The end guy's just like hiding in the mirror land, and he can't come out. And then this is kind of my problem right here. You gently hug Nico around the shoulders and stand there looking into the distance with Titty Poco. After all that sexual tension, after holding her underwear for 11 fucking hours, I have to hug her?
Yeah, okay.
Really?
Dude, I felt the same thing. I wrote down, fuck this ending. I can't believe it went to credits. Zero.
So, well, I was like, where's the extra? Where's the
right. That's
where
what,
is it?
Exactly. That's why I was like, I can't believe it
waited.
just went to credits. Like, it didn't seem like it was about to go to credits. And then I put here, I think quite accurately, zero attention was paid to the characters, only to the plot. Mm-hmm. There's no character love at all. Like, we've been these characters for 10 hours now. And instead of, like, they had all these loose... And I know that it goes into a third broken sword. But, like, dude, that was a lie. Give us something. Like, give us some character
I wanted
development.
at least a kiss. If I'm going to watch a whole season of The Nanny or Who's the Boss or one of those, remember those shows, how much sexual tension they had between, say, Tony and Angela, or any one of these where there's just a huge amount of that. I want to see them have an intimate moment where they at least almost kiss. And that's season 1. By season 2, they've probably slept with each other by now and had a few more things. By season 3, the show probably is losing ratings and trying to marry them. By season 4, they've adopted a dog and a child and a cousin, then season 5 doesn't happen. But
wow, that was so specific and well fleshed out. Man, that was great. Yeah. Look, and hey, if somebody's thinking right now, well, what if they don't want to do the traditional, I'm so sick of they always fall in love and they always get the girl. Fair enough. Then end it like this. Nico turns to George and says, I prefer lobster. Like, lobster, no, whatever. Give me something, right? Make it so like she decides, okay, fine, I don't want to be with George. I actually prefer the lobster guy. And then be like, fuck, okay, well then.
Thank you, George, for making it possible for me to be with lobster.
Yeah, I just don't appreciate this hand on shoulder Sopranos-esque ending. I didn't like it at all. And then my final note for this whole thing says, huge step down from the first game, possibly the worst sequel. And that was where I left it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pretty damn negative. There's redeeming qualities.
I didn't feel as emotionally invested because of the characters. I thought I respect it as a game, and I see what they did there. And I've definitely played worse. I just didn't get as emotionally involved. There wasn't enough will they, won't they. There wasn't enough tension. That excitement, Paul, that you said you felt at the beginning when you're like, oh, what's happening between him and Nico, it didn't last. And you stopped talking about it 1/3 of the way into the episode.
Yeah.
Because it was gone.
You're exactly right, because it was just gone. And then the ending is a reflection of that. It's like he puts his shoulder on her, and even that's weird and confusing because it doesn't seem like they're in a place where he would just casually like, hey, dear, like it didn't seem right. It seemed like the game forgot that that's not where they're at.
Either too intimate or not intimate enough.
It's precisely that, yeah.
It was so important to say it, I had to say it over top of you. You're welcome, listeners.
Yeah, no, it was necessary. Anyway, that's Broken Sword 2.
I'm sure.
Probably don't play this one.
I mean, unless you already played it. That's okay.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't ask them to have played it, but
go back in time. Or tell us why you liked it. Have
tell
you
us
been
how we're
checking
wrong.
the email? I have emails from people that have been sent
Yes,
to us,
I got an email
I
from.
haven't been good about.
I got an email from our dear friend Brian, and he said to me, and I quote, "You need to quote me more better." End quote.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, guys. That'll be worth it for Brian. Maybe. Probably not, honestly. Yeah. Look, it was worth it if that was for me. I think we could all tell by that self-grandiosing laugh that was for me. I'm all done. You could say yeah.
I can say my thing here?
Better. Sure.
So I just wanted to make a note that there's been a few times on the podcast I've asked if anybody out there in listener land has ever won a Sierra contest, and I've asked it online because people don't really talk about winning these contests. So I ended up in a conversation with a Pensive Goat online, and they did. Their parents entered them in a contest, and they were pretty young, like 11 and under, kind of young. And wearing it was like I'm going to post the picture on our page and you can see what it is. It's super cool, so you have to go look. And they gave him clothing from Phantasmagoria too. I think it was the pants, which is super weird. And then they got to pick any game that they wanted from the catalog, and unfortunately had a choice between Freddy Farkas and Stay Tuned, and thought that the one with the cartoon cat would have been more fun.
Ah, so close. Yeah.
Necessarily true, but got cool 3D glasses and everything else. So I'm really happy. Thank you for sharing the story, and I'll share the pictures. They're great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also continuing to announce to anybody that doesn't know that the Phantom Fellows and the Classic Gamers Guild podcast will be at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, which is in October. So be there, because there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to be announced soon that are going to be there that you'd be very interested in seeing. There's going to be a Sierra Museum and many people attached to that. So if you can make it, you have family there already. If you're listening to us, you're family. Oh. So unless you hate us, and even then it might be good for some drama, but be nice if you can.
Yeah, but that was quite a little roller coaster ride you took us on just then. I didn't expect the... Well, anyway, it was nice.
Yeah. So there's that, and also continuing work on the Phantom Fellows, announcements coming soon, all sorts of things happening under the hood. So just you wait. In the meantime, go pick it up.
Yeah, summer sale still probably. I think by when this comes,
maybe.
Yeah, because this comes out in like 4 hours, so it's still. Is it still? It doesn't like it doesn't matter. Actually, don't buy it on sale.
Doesn't matter.
Don't. It was
Okay.
It's only $14 normally, right? I mean, what is that really? How did adventure games get cornered into being so cheap? He says, containing any sort of bitterness or resentment. Why are we stuck down here at $14? We can't offer DLC. Really static here. It's really it's weird.
All online and digital. You can't, you don't have a big box. It's a different industry. But then you've got BioWare and you have the big companies, and they're running it differently because they are giving out physical goods too. And then you got people waiting for GTA. It's not even out on PC till 6 months later or whatever. And people are waiting to get their hands on $130 pre-buy packages or kits or all sorts of special edition things. So it's so funny that it pushes indies, us, into this smaller tax bracket where they're like, oh my God, $20? How could you charge that much? Unless it's a major publisher, right? It's such funny rules out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, funny is a word for it. For sure.
For sure. Yeah, Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for contributing, our Patreon contributors. We really, really appreciate you, and you continue to be here as a part of this with us, and we notice it. If you ever had another idea and you don't want us to just read your names every time, feel free to let us know. Brian, Mick, Tim, Gareth, Chapman, Christopher, Yanis, Alan. You're in the superfan, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. I've had various people make suggestions as to what they'd like from Patreon, but I'm not going to tell you. You can tell me. That would be just fine. Otherwise, check us out. We're online. Did you know that? You could actually find the Classic Gamers Guild. You're on Twitter at the Phantom Fellows.
See, but I'm not,
and
though.
And you might even be...
There's no the.
You might even be. Right. I will never get that right. I'm going to start right here. Twitter at CGG Podcast. Twitter Paul at Phantom Fellows. Blue Sky, Mastodon at the Classic Gamers Guild Podcast, and Phantom Fellows. You can also see us at don'tdoamurder@gmail.com, or at least we could see your words, and become a Patreoner, as we talked about, to support the show. Patreon.com, Classic Gamers Guild. Also, we're on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook as a page and a group.
Nice. Yeah. And then my own little thank you to our Patreoners, and thank you to you, the listeners. So that's it. Bloody don't do a murder. All right, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just go.
Okay.
Okay. We still don't have like a clip for the beginning of the after, but whatever.
Okay.
You're like, okay, I don't know what to do with that. So, okay.
I don't know what to do with
You
that
want me to just make one for you now? You want me to just say something zany?
Well, this is the clip. We're making the clip right now.
Yeah, it's a meta clip. It's a clip about a clip.
It is.
Inside of a whatever. All right, let's go.
So,
We might be peaking right now. We didn't start
this.
yet.
Oh, shit.